Welcome to Roguecast, the official podcast of Rogues Gallery. We'll talk comics for the week, as well as whatever news is on our pop cultural radar. I'm Randy.
I'm Nick.
This is Dave.
And now, on with the show. All right, welcome to another episode of the Roguecast.
Yeah, it's a bustly week of comic surprises.
It's a big week for comics again, yeah.
I don't know if we mentioned this, but in a few weeks we're going to get like what we think is probably like the final big reprint of a lot of Absolute titles.
Well,
like basically,
so March 4th
is
they will reprint Absolute Batman 1 through 14.
Yep.
And I think that's also Absolute Superman 1 through 10 is getting reprinted. Later on, they'll reprint some of the other ones.
Yep.
But that is also a big comic. There's a lot of stuff coming out. March 4th is going to be, the table is going to be very full of stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big week.
Laden with comics.
And this final printing, they are trying to basically keep them in print.
I was going to say, I don't think this is the final.
Oh, really?
No,
I just assumed it would almost have to be.
No, their goal is to treat these almost like they're treating the facsimiles, to kind of keep them in print.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think
that's cool.
I mean, we've seen more and more people. I mean, they want their single issues.
Yeah, this is a phenomenon. It's unlike anything else.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of like, when Stranger Things kind of got D&D back in the air, people didn't want to just, like, jump online and play D&D over, Roll20 or Zoomer or anything like that. They wanted miniatures, they wanted the table, they want the experience.
Yep. So, but also the trades and the hardcovers do sell as well.
For sure.
And we just
got a big restock. We've got Absolute Batman Volume 1 and 2. In trade and hardcover.
Yep.
And we got Absolute Superman trades back in. The only thing we're currently out of
is Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter.
Right.
Are both gone.
I forgot about Martian Manhunter.
But we're in a constant state of reordering and
when they come back in, we'll get them. Hopefully
just
soon.
holding out for new printings occasionally.
But if you've been waiting for Absolute Batman, we now have Volumes 1 and 2. We had a lot of people who were looking for that when Volume 2 dropped last week. And we've got a lot of them. So hopefully we won't run out before you get here and get one.
Which I think reprints the first 12 issues?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah.
Reminder again that Pokemon Day is coming up Friday, February 27th.
Yep.
It's fun stuff for kids.
It's true.
Our clearance sale continues. We've still got a ton of stuff on the tables. 50% off. Lots of good graphic novels, games, manga.
I've had some people very excited about stuff there.
Yeah, there's some good stuff out there. We got a decent amount of games this week. The Gamegenic Just sleeves, which is like they're sort of more approachable sleeves. They're less expensive than the other ones. They put their board game sleeve versions out. So we've got mini European size, mini American size, and European size in either, I think, 100 packs or 250 copy packs.
That is correct.
Nice.
So we got a lot more sleeves back in. We got a game called Eraser. This is
finally based on Arnold Schwarzenegger's greatest movie.
I'm afraid not, sir.
What? No.
Your luggage.
Your luggage.
It says 5 categories, 1 word, disappearing clues, and a mission. Can you guess the most words? You play simultaneously.
Okay.
You grab your erasable board. You take on the challenge. Give your teammates clues to guess your secret word, but you're guessing 2. Before passing the board, you erase a clue. The fewer clues left, the tougher the challenge. I don't know exactly how this works, but I'm fascinated by the idea.
This has elements of like code words.
Just one.
Or code words, code names.
Code names.
Yeah, code names. It's just one. What was that spy type themed one? There was a
Code names is spy themed.
No, there was another one where it had like a little decoder thing. Remember that?
Oh yeah, we haven't had that in a while.
Okay, but anyway, it's this sounds interesting. Yeah, I'd like to look at it and see exactly how it works. Word games are always fun.
Yeah. The Arkham Horror RPG gets the Kingsport Mysteries Adventures. This is... I don't know that much about Kingsport and all this kind of thing.
Yep. It's a thing somewhere.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah. You're investigating the Kingsport Mysteries.
This is for the Living Card game? Or
no,
which
this
one
is the RPG.
The RPG.
Arkham Horror RPG.
Oh, okay, yeah. Which, by the way, I watched like a video on that a few weeks ago, and the person who was describing it, he was talking about the starter set. He made it sound very appealing. He really liked it, and he did a good talk up for it. So there's a good YouTube video out there of this dude talking about it. But he did differentiate it from the Call of Cthulhu license, because they are both Cthulhu mythos.
Yeah.
By saying that it's the more pulp adventure side of it, a little more two-fisted.
Yeah.
There's always been like detectives and explorers, like a little Indiana Jones-ish in Call of Cthulhu as well. Right. But I think they just lean into it a little bit more in Arkham Horror. so that, you know, it's a little bit less doom and gloom, although there's that too, and a little bit more, I'm going to punch a cultist in the face.
A little less about going insane permanently forever. That was kind of the Call of Cthulhu's thing.
Yep. I think they dabble in it, they just not as much.
Yeah.
So it does, but yeah, his description of the system and all that sounded cool.
It's interesting to do an Arkham Horror RPG, given that Call of Cthulhu is one of the oldest existing RPGs, and really dominates that space. So
defining horror RPG.
They must have something right.
Yeah.
Cozy Stickerville, which is a game where you manage a growing village with your friends using stickers to build houses, farms, shops, etc.
Yep.
This sounds like a really fun and interesting new game.
Yeah, I think I sold a copy just the other day to someone who I think is just like a kind of a pretty regular board gamer, and it looks like he was just trying it out.
Yeah.
I think he'd heard some good buzz on it.
Yep. Gloomhaven 2nd Edition. It's a big, updated, everything they've learned since the initial release of Gloomhaven many years ago.
If for some reason you're not aware of Gloomhaven, it is a massive game, like the heaviest game we carry.
Yep.
Like, I think easily.
Yep.
Maybe even over Twilight Imperium,
Yes.
I think. And in which you, kind of a dark fantasy theme. It's cooperative, but deadly as you kind of do dungeon crawls.
Type thing, yeah.
And you have like a little deck of hit cards to issue your commands and use your abilities of your characters. But it has a cool little narrative structure to it, and you build your characters up, and it's a campaign-based game.
Yep.
So and it's been a huge breakout. Like, chances are you probably already know most of what I just said, but there's a reason people keep picking it up, even though it is a pricey game.
Yeah, but it's also a ton of game.
And also a good implement to crush your enemies with, because it's so heavy.
It is so heavy. But yeah, I think this is a good one to play if you kind of want to do a deep dive into a dungeon crawl and challenge yourself, because I think it is like only the elite will survive kind of thing.
Yeah. Sensu, which is about sensu fans, Japanese fans, which it says are used in theater, dance, cuisine, war, and prayer. Little fans.
Little fans. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
You basically you're crafting them using cards, and you're trying to get to there's a 15-point guy that you're trying to get to. So
okay.
Yeah, it's a little card game. Looks fun. Also, the Fantasy Realms, which is a very popular card game, gets a Greek Legends version. This has been pretty popular. This is really simple. It's just a draw and discard. You're trying to make a set kind of thing.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the cards, and of course it's littered with cool heroes and characters and stories from Greek mythology.
Yep. Gelatinous cube dice. We have a lot of these inclusion dice.
Yeah.
This is a set of 6 dice, 66s, that it says when put together it tells the story of a fallen warrior who's been lost to time. So there's a different inclusion, like different part of the warrior in
it's
each
like armor, a skeleton.
Yeah, inside these gelatinous cube dice.
Yeah, it's really
which means
cool.
you can also use them as mini gelatinous cube miniatures.
Sure.
So it is a dice set.
Yep. 6 dice.
6 dice. Okay. That's cool.
Yep.
Gelatinous cubes are the best.
Yep. And then we got Starfinder, Alien Core Pocket Edition, and Pathfinder Archive Remaster, which are reprints of existing things, updated rules.
Yep.
And then Pathfinder RPG Season of Ghosts Adventure Path, which is you're in a small town that basically has a season of ghosts. They're being invaded by monsters and strange weather, and you're trying to figure out what's going on.
I want to live in a small town that has a season
I
of
don't
ghosts.
think you do.
No, it would be fun.
What if that ghost is mean?
And the ghosts are mean.
I assume it's a cozy ghost kind of.
I don't think it's a cozy ghost kind of thing.
You
Well,
can't just assume that. Dave.
I can listen. Is it going to be worse than the real world, or is
fair.
it just going to have cool spooky stuff instead of cool real, people being rounded up by ice?
Yeah. all the ghosts are racist, I'm afraid.
Oh no! Oh no!
That's why they wear those white hoods.
Casper? Oh.
Yes. Casper is a white supremacist, I'm afraid. He's a ghost supremacist. And then we got T-Witches, which is the new game from the people who made Flamecraft.
Yes.
This is the same designer, same artist, and it is basically you are doing resource building. You are basically going to different witches who do different teas. So you're getting teas, you're getting teapots. It's a very sort of cozy aesthetic. Really, really good game. It is like a little more complicated than Flamecraft. So if you played Flamecraft and you're like, oh, I want another game, I want something else from these people, this is a good next step.
Okay. That's cool.
All right, let's talk about comics for the week. There are a lot of them.
Yes.
And I would like to start with my favorite, which is the 4th iteration of Jed McKay's Moon Knight, Marc Spector Moon Knight. Now, I understand being cynical about relaunches. But Moon Knight is probably the character who should go about 30 issues and then get into number 1 because people aren't going to stick around for Moon Knight number 100.
I mean, they might.
But every time they relaunch it, there's also a new status quo.
Essentially, this is has been one long run.
Yep.
Generally speaking, because I have not read every single issue of it, but I have kind of tuned in for every new one. I haven't gotten to this one yet, but I for sure will. But basically, Marc Spector, he's a little. It reminds me a little of Peter David's Hulk run, where the status quo is that the status quo changes a bit.
Yep.
He's working fiercely with Khonshu. Khonshu has gone crazy and he's trying to overthrow him, or he's trying to get away from his control. There's all these different kind of takes on him, but it's all lensed through Jed McKay's vision, and so you see background characters, supporting characters, allies, and villains that all weave through it. So if you are reading the whole thing, you're going to get a nice big picture. But in general, you can jump into any one of the discrete runs. What sets this one apart, Randy? I haven't read it yet.
This one is that Marc Spector has been kidnapped. That's what the last issue ran. All his supporting cast with Tigra and Soldier and the Midnight Mission. Marc Spector's been kidnapped. There is an organization run by the mysterious Mr. Smith. They are basically he's trapped in this warehouse being interrogated. They're trying to find one of his old friends, and he is having hallucinations of a Moon Knight kiddie TV show that seems like maybe Khonshu talking to him. And he thinks he's working in the mailroom for this corporation. It's a weird mindfuck episode, basically.
Think a little arcade.
Yeah.
But it's not them, and there are some characters that are utilized that are kind of behind the scenes.
It looked to me like they were interrogating him through some sort of Severance-style matrix.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's about right. It's definitely sort of more the trippy Moon Knight, the kind of thing that Jeff Lemire did.
Jeff Lemire. Yeah.
And I really dug this first issue. It's a new artist, Promanica?
The Pramanik?
Pramanik, okay.
It looked, it looked
the credits
really
there at the
cool
very end, apparently.
I don't know what to compare
Pramanik.
it to. Reminded me a little bit of who's the guy who drew the Spector?
Oh yeah, Tom Mandrake.
Yeah, little Tom.
I can see that. Yeah,
but he's kind of his own thing too.
It's definitely the right vibe. It's sort of a creepy psychological horror version of it.
Yes.
But I highly recommend it. This is probably my favorite thing I read this week. The in contention for that though is the book I think we all really liked. No, Serena loved it.
Yep.
And that is Sirens Love Hurts Book 1.
Yep.
This is a DC Black Label book from Teenie Howard, and most notably, art by Babs Tarr.
And it is kind of an update of the Gotham City Sirens, which was the bad girls team of Harley, Ivy, and Catwoman usually.
But I was worried about this because honestly, Gotham City Sirens, the last few they've done have been weekly books. They weren't great.
Right.
It felt like they took the Poison Ivy, Catwoman, Harley dynamic, and such a good idea, and they made it kind of boring and mundane. Mm-hmm. This is not that. This is not. You don't have to have read any Gotham City Sirens because I haven't read a lot of it. This is basically the three of them. Something is happening to some of the women in Gotham, and even though these three are villains, they are also women, and they decide that they're going to deal with it. But which
leads them to end up working with a sort of a informal new member. Black Canary,
who they all don't trust because she's a hero.
Yeah,
they like her. Kind of, she comes to drinks with them.
There is a little bit of the Harley Quinn animated show to this.
Yes,
there's a lot of
and there's which is to say there is some gals talking trash here.
Yeah, lots of that,
and having cocktails.
Well, they poor Ollie, who is Black Canary's fiance in this, or husband? No, fiance.
No, fiance.
He gets treated like the himbo bro who's busting in on girl time, which is hilarious.
Yeah, they're we don't want him around.
Yeah.
But they actually kind of there's a little bit of sophistication in how they write Black Canary.
Yep, for
both
sure.
Defending him, but also kind of acknowledging, he's going to kind of screw up the vibe.
They also give Catwoman a lot of shit for her relationship with Bruce Wayne, who they don't realize is Batman.
Yep. They talk about him being a himbo.
Yep.
And Harley is a very horny lesbian in this.
Yes, she is. Yep.
She's checking out everybody. I feel like. They use the Black Label book, but I will say this: they don't over lean into it. There's some F-bombs dropped.
Yep.
But sometimes when I see stuff like that, they lean too hard into it, and it almost comes across as childish.
Right.
This actually there is at the core of this. First of all, there's an interesting story about these women banding together. And there's also the fun side of it, which is them you're hanging out with them, right? It's hanging out with these gals for the day, and eventually getting into a mystery with them. But yeah, it's not like so juvenile that they're just like, look, I can say the F word. It's used sparingly, and when it's used, it's funny and cool. Babstar, yeah, like y'all said, did a great job on the artwork. It's cute, it's sexy. She's obviously having a lot of time, good time with it. I liked seeing what do you call it? Black Canary back doing the rocker thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And kind of like a local club rocker. Very very fun. And you know what? Babstar's a sexy artist person. You know what? Even though Ollie gets kind of stepped on a little bit in this, he's a hot looking dude. Bruce Wayne is a hot looking dude in this too. I do love the other Sirens giving Catwoman shit about Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, it's great.
I think there's just great character work here, and the overall story is interesting.
So there's a miniseries?
Yes.
How many issues?
I believe it's 5.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. I think that's an easy recommend for the week.
Absolute Wonder Woman Annual is out this week. It's got one of the regular guest artists. I forget the name. Oh, here we go. Mattia Deulus, who's what they've done some other art on this book before.
I really liked it. I think there was like a guest spot in another one.
So but this is focusing in on her relationship with Artemis, who is treated as it is Artemis, right? No, it's Athena.
Athena,
who is treated as kind of mean, kind of a
yeah.
dick.
Well, anybody who's read the actual myths knows that most of the gods can be very capricious and kind of turn brutal at times.
But this is following up on her encounter with the Medusa.
Because when she borrowed some of the power of Medusa during the climactic battle of the first arc.
Right.
And in that time, she actually kind of formed a kind of empathic connection to her. And, like, in the lore, like, everybody who's, like, ever watched, I don't know, Clash of the Titans or whatever, is like, oh, Medusa, villain. Perseus has to kill her.
Yeah.
But, like, in reality, Medusa was, like, one of those people who was, like, sexually assaulted and was, like, punished by the gods for being sexually assaulted. Like, it's terrible.
Yep.
And in the beginning of this, there's this fascinating thing where Wonder Woman is, like, praying to Athena, and she's like, hey, I want to try and make a connection with Medusa. I feel like she's gotten a bad deal. I want to help.
And she's doing it over and over again to the point where Athena's finally like, fine, what?
Yeah, and it's interesting because when she goes to talk to Athena is like 100 feet tall, wearing armor, terrifying. It's kind of this creepy owl armor. And when she gets mad at Wonder Woman, you see her claws on her feet tensing up and crushing trees and stuff. So it is Wonder Woman challenging her, but also there's some question about the actual narrative, what is and isn't true about her. So this talks about how sort of myths grow and change. But yeah, it's a cool thing. It's the kind of thing that also it made me think of how Morrison did Wonder Woman, where she was less of a I'm a warrior, as so much as she is a sort of a radical pacifist.
Yeah.
And here she is she's like, I'm not trying to defeat Medusa, I'm trying to save Medusa.
Yeah, it's a really good mythic take on. And if you've never read any Absolute Wonder Woman, this is a great issue. You can jump in on this even if you've never read any other issues.
There's very cool design on both Medusa and her sisters. The other
that is what an annual should be for, by the way. Is it should be a chance to check out a book that you're not reading, a sort of standalone story, but still feels like of a piece with the book.
It's interesting because in general we've talked probably a lot of shit about annuals over the years.
Yep.
And a lot of them don't live up. They just feel like filler that's given extra pages.
Yep. So far, the Absolute Annuals
have been kind of an exception. Everybody they wanted to tune in to see Batman bust up some white supremacists.
We all do.
And man, did he! and this is another really good one.
I do have one gripe, which has nothing to do with the book itself, but with DC's obsession with putting other books in the back of their comics.
Oh,
you get to the end of this, and it's like it sort of feels like an end, and then there's 8 pages of a preview of a completely different Batman comic, and it threw me off. I'm like, wait, is there more Wonder Woman? Nope. Okay, that's just, and it's a sizable amount of preview to put in there.
I kind of liked seeing those preview pages in this case.
I don't like it. It's in a lot of DC books right now, and it always puts me off.
But I'd actually been wanting to look at some. It's the Batman Dark Patterns one, which is the kind of almost a more Seven-ish kind of Batman where he's investigating these dark crimes, and
it's drawn by Hayden Sherman.
But it is really nice looking. It kind of reminded me of Year One stuff, and it actually made me a little kind of want to check it out.
No, Dave, don't.
I agree with you in principle, Randy. I agree with you in principle, but in this particular case, I was like, I kind of like
it. It bothered me because it was such a change. I was like, what is going on? Oh, wait. Yeah. It's kind of like Marvel has those ads.
Well, you also are kind of like, well, how much of this am I paying for in the price?
Exactly. But like you pick up a thick book, you forget, like, oh, I'm going to get a big read, and 8 of those pages are ads.
I do like a thick
I don't like that. Marvel's doing kind of the same thing with their full house ads in the middle of a story. You're reading like an X-Men story, and all of a sudden there's like a Guardians of the Galaxy page, and it looks like a page.
Right.
It disrupts the flow. Anyway.
Are you done?
I'm just saying.
Don't read these comics this week. They have ads in them.
I'm just saying they should put me in charge and I can fix all this. No.
There has always been a pain in the butt thing with ads in these comics. Like, I remember when I was a kid, of course, there was the doofy Toys R Us ad that was on the covers of comics. But also, yeah, you'd be like reading, like, it could be like a comic that's like super serious, like Death of Phoenix, Elektra's story.
And then the 2-page spread for a video game.
And then there's an ad for a video game or bubblegum, or like in the 80s, it was all this goofy stuff.
So what I'll say that DC does that I like is that all their ads are at the back of the book.
There you go.
So they do this.
Is that taken from? Did they? Because it didn't used to be like that. Did they get that idea from Image? Because Image usually puts all their house ads in the back.
I think they may have, and it's a good move. I think the argument from the advertising people would be, well, no one's going to wait and just read through the ads, but they do. People are going to read every page of your book, and they're going to look to see what the end is, and they will see your ads, especially if they're house ads, and it doesn't disrupt the story.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying all the ads should be at the back of the book. Because the advertisers will be like, but nobody's going to read the ads if they're not part of the story.
But you're saying that DC is doing that,
DC
right?
is doing that, Marvel's not, and I wish they were.
Yeah.
I think that there's always the push-pull of art and commerce.
Sure.
And I think commerce is pushing a little hard sometimes.
You have gotten spoiled by the streaming world where you don't have to watch ads, but in comics you still have to watch ads.
Unless you have a Peacock subscription where you have to watch the same ad 100 times.
No ads.
All right, let's talk about Shadows of Tomorrow, the X-Men relaunch that's going on. They have 2 new ones this week. Cyclops and Wade Wilson Deadpool. Dave, Cyclops?
Does Wade Wilson get to be called an X-Men book?
Shadows of Tomorrow.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. He's in the X-Men office. He always is.
Yeah, but he's not a mutant, though, right?
He's not, but he's been in several... Is he not a mutant?
He's not.
Okay. But he has been...
Get him out.
He came from New Mutants. He is part of the mutant world.
Okay.
He's tied to Cable. He was in the X-Men. I'm afraid, Dave, that he is part of the X-Men line.
He's been under a X-Men.
I'm going to have to stop reading all X-Men now.
Okay.
And retroactively sell all the old ones.
Sure.
Cyclops, when I was making the sign for this, I was like, oh, this is a cool premise. Basically, Cyclops gets the Quinjet he's flying, somewhat unusually, but he isn't an Avengers Quinjet, gets shot down over the mountains, and he is hunted by a new incarnation of Donald Pierce, the Hellfire Club guy, of his Reavers.
Yep.
Reavers are all these, cybernetic mercenaries, usually like very kind of hardcore killers.
Yep.
And there is some other stuff going on, but that is the core premise of it. I quite like this. I thought that just every once in a while I was like, that's not quite right for Cyclops, but most of it I did think was good.
I think the Quinjet makes sense because it's the older version of Beast who just stopped being an Avenger.
Is that what the deal is?
Yeah.
So he's making kind of things that he would make for
that's right. The idea is that he's kind of doing this as a tinkerer kind of thing. He's kind of having fun.
Yeah.
Not the character of the tinkerer, but just
he's like a guy who's got an old Mustang that he's fixing up. Except instead of an old Mustang, it's an old Quinjet.
It's interesting because they're showing that Cyclops has kind of become a little hardened in this. At some point, he mentions that he kind of blows up at the rest of his X-Men team. Because they kind of disobeyed some orders and almost threw off an operation. And he says, and Magic is like, hey, sorry, boss. And he's like, I don't need sorry, Magic. I need soldiers. And later on, Beast chastises him for saying that. And he's like, come on, Beast, we've always been soldiers. He's talking about the old days. And Beast is like, no, I remember. He's like, dancing, laughter. Our enemies don't get to define us. So there's some interesting philosophical stuff going on in here. Now, of course, Cyclops is about to be put in a position where he's going to have to be very soldiery because Donald Pierce is being very creepy in this. He usually is a pretty creepy dude.
Yep.
You know what? Also, I liked. There's some interesting backstory. I guess some lore I didn't know that's going on with some of the other X books of that had to do with him and Havoc, Alex Summers.
Okay.
And their days in the orphanage, and I don't know, some reveals about that time. And they were also talking to the lady who was like the director of the orphanage back in the day. So you see Scott talking to his brother. There's a lot of Cyclops-y type lore in this. Thankfully, no Goblin Queen or anything really complicated. No love triangles going on in this one. And yes, there is indeed the setup for the hunt, as well as another person who's out there being likely hunted by the Reavers as well. Anyway, it's a good first issue. You know, if you're if Cyclops has been getting an image revival. X-Men 97 did it. What's his name in regular X-Men comic? Jed McKay has been doing it for sure in that as well. And I think this is a good continuation of it. I will say I don't like him calling the X-Men soldiers and stuff, but I think that's kind of a mini arc that they're presenting here, is that he's in a dark place right at the moment. So I'm willing to let that unspool.
And then White Wilson Deadpool, which is Ben Percy, who's been doing Wolverine and X-Force. Mm-hmm. He's giving you sort of a darker take on Deadpool, which I think the Deadpool fans will enjoy. There aren't any in this room. Again,
the sign when I was making the sign and reading the solicit, they said that some past thing has come back to haunt Wade Wilson. I assume there's at least still some Deadpool wisecracking in it, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's always going to do that.
But there is a darker thing.
Less of the fourth wall breaking and that kind of thing, though.
I mean, it makes sense to shift gears occasionally with him. I know when he was in Remender's X-Force, Rick Remender's X-Force.
Yeah, they definitely delved into.
They kind of did some more serious stuff with him in that, and you like that.
I did.
So perhaps you will end up liking this.
DC's Vertigo relaunches. This has been a long time coming, with Bleeding Hearts, which is a zombie story from the point of view of the zombies, like 10 years after the zombie outbreak. And so
these are zombies that have kind of developed their own sentience and kind of culture.
Their own culture. Has really nice art by Stipan Morian, who's not an artist I knew, but reminds me a little of, like, I said Eric Powell and Steve Pugh. Dave, you mentioned...
the artist who I was thinking of was, and I don't know if this is exactly right, but Sonny Liu.
Yeah.
Which is to say, a little cartoony, or even if you wanted to say Sam Keith.
Yeah. Sam
90s.
Keith, for sure. But it's written by Needy's Camp, who does Ultimates, and he's doing Ultimate Endgame, Sordid Crisis Events, so worth checking out. The Thing on the Doorstep is a new Cthulhu it's Cthulhu, right? Lovecraft adaptation. This guy has done a Lovecraftian thing called Antarctica for Image before.
Yep. I actually haven't read this one in a while, the original story, so I don't remember exactly what the Lovecraft thing is about.
It seems to be a pair of childhood friends.
Something about them being committed to an asylum together, or something. Well, I know there's an asylum that takes a role in it.
They're both proper Elizabethan gentleman type thing. One of them gets married, the other one is very single and starts looking into the books at Miskatonic University.
Yep.
And it seems like, they may both wind up in an asylum or something. Interestingly, one of the characters is black, which I'm quite sure he was not in the original Lovecraft.
Ooh, I'm sure he wasn't.
He was not.
So nice to see that updated. For those who like horror, there is Good Bones and Other Sordid Tales, which is a Boom Studios one-shot that is a spin-off of Hello Darkness.
That's the one that's most by a certain creator.
Steve Orlando writes all the stories.
Steve Orlando, yeah.
Different artists.
You know what I thought was interesting that when I was reading about it, and I don't know much about Steve Orlando, the dude, but apparently in the interview I read about this, they mentioned that several of these stories are sort of have queer themes in them.
Okay.
And you know what's interesting is, like, I've definitely learned over the years that there's a big kind of crossover, I think, between horror and queer culture. That is there's a fascination with horror stories, and I imagine it's probably because life sometimes feels like a horror story, if you're on the LGBT spectrum, and you're looking for scares that are controllable. But I'm interested to check it out and see, like, how he weaves that in.
Star Wars Jar Jar, a one-shot that no one was asking for, but we all really enjoyed.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? This is kind of like, this is sort of the redemption streak for Jar Jar.
Yep.
That they actually already sort of began in which show was it that had the actor who portrayed him?
Ahmed Best, who co-writes this, Mark Guggenheim.
Was it on The Mandalorian?
It was on The Mandalorian. He played a Jedi named Kelleran Beck.
Yeah.
And this is a team-up of Kelleran Beck and Jar Jar. Two characters would be a lot harder to do in real life because, he plays both characters.
They can do that digitally.
Yep.
Star Wars has done this before.
But this is just after Jar Jar has accidentally given Chancellor Palpatine war powers, and he's starting to realize maybe that was a bad idea, and he's on the run with Kelleran Beck trying
there's like a planet that's being like completely exploited, like the
slave labor.
Labor, but basically I guess the Republic isn't an empire yet.
No, it's still...
But it's getting there, and Palpatine is like, kind of covers all this stuff by saying, it's like, well, we need all the allies we can get. We may not agree with how this planetary government, uses its labor, but we need the stuff that they're extracting from the land. And I don't know why, but it felt like the idea of exploiting another country's resources, oil or rare earth metals and things like that.
You mean another planet?
Another planet. But yeah, it felt pretty relevant. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, he does have to sort of explain this to Jar Jar.
Yeah.
And he's like, this a maxi bomb bag.
Yes.
It's like,
it's funny.
Working them to death.
It's funny because it works, but he is such a goofy character.
Right. Well, part of the first movie, Phantom Menace, at no point does he go through an arc and become cool.
No.
He's kind of a doofus throughout. He never becomes super brave.
Yep.
He accidentally blows up some stuff, I think, once or twice.
Yep.
But they do show a little bit of growth in this, where he's kind of he's feeling he's regretting what he's done with the Emperor.
Yep.
But they don't lean so heavy into it that it's just morose or anything like that. And I think the highlight scene in this is a thing where the Emperor and him talk for 2 or 3 pages.
Yeah.
And he's saying what he saw, and the Emperor is being the skeeviest politician he can possibly be, outmaneuvering Jar Jar kind of at every turn, saying well, of course we'd like to look into it, and maybe we'll form a committee to look into it, and stuff like this. And he's just so evil. He's just so terrible. But Jar Jar has a little bit more cleverness going on in this, and he's aware of the manipulation.
Yeah.
And there's
the finale is actually really gives a little agency to Jar Jar I was not expecting.
Yep. So I think this is about as good as you're going to get from a Jar Jar comic.
Yep.
And I would actually recommend it.
Ultraman, Fall of Ultraman. This is another in Marvel series based on the what is this genre called? The giant robot man.
Is it Super Sentai?
Super Sentai, yeah.
Yeah, there may be a more specific one to that.
So this is the same people that write. This is Higgins, who does Radiant Black and all that stuff. So more of the Ultraman, if you are a fan of that.
I gather
character.
this is from this is what I got from making the sign for it. It's called the Fall of
Ultraman. Yep.
There is something where he is destined to be destroyed or die, and the team of adventure scientists who work with him or create him or pilot him. I don't know how it works.
I don't know. They're inside
are also destined to die, and this is kind of maybe the finale of the various Ultraman stories they've been telling. Meant to be kind of. I feel like they're Dark Phoenix, they're Days of Future Past, one of those kind of big stories. I'm going to guess that Ultraman doesn't get destroyed.
Probably not.
But there is going to be some manner of big thing that changes for him, so...
Barbarian Behind Bars. This is if Conan went to Oz. Not Oz the kingdom.
HBO,
the HBO prison
show.
It's somehow this barbarian winds up in modern day New
industrial
York.
complex as lensed through a barbarian from an alternate world.
Yeah, they time travel. They wind up in Times Square fighting. He's fighting like a wizard, and then he gets taken in and put in prison.
Yeah. Weird concept, but I do admit I kind of like it as a premise.
It looks fun. It's got sort of watercolory art too.
The art looked nice.
Yeah.
The art looked nice. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to probably check it out.
Boom Studios produces the last work of Marc Bright, who died earlier last year. He's a fantastic artist. He's working with Larry Hama, who writes all the G.I. Joe that we all love.
Mark Bright worked for like Marvel primarily in the 80s and stuff.
But he also helped launch the Milestone.
The Milestone
Studios.
line is kind of what's his 90s claim to fame. He was, one of the architects of it.
Yep.
And this is like a last work. I know the vibe I got was that if anybody's seen like The Incredibles, and you know how like they kind of have as the backstory that sort of government bureaucracy kind of ends up reigning in the heroes. There is something of that to this. There's like superheroes kind of have to form into unions, or are even maybe like legally required to defray the potential costs of their fighting. So I think it's Hama and him having a little bit of fun doing superhero adventure, but imagining some of the real world red tape they might have to go through.
Yeah. Dennis Hopeless has an Ignition book called Just Brutal. This is art by Brom Revel. I remember the name. I don't remember where I know it from, but it's nice art. This is it's about a pair of kids who are like 20-somethings, I think, and they're making amateur movies, and their parents are divorced, and they're very different, but it turns out maybe their parents are wizards and barbarians fighting evil.
Yeah.
It's a first issue that like has a lot of twists and turns. I don't know how to pitch it. Dave, I saw your pitch for the sign, but none of that shows up till the very last page of the book.
I only go by what I get from an interview or from their own solicits.
So I read this. Did either of y'all read this?
No, I haven't read it.
I did not.
It was a lot of fun. It's a really fun first issue. Something very different. Just Brutal is what it's called.
Just Brutal.
G.I. Joe: Real American Hero. This is Larry Hama's continuation. This is issue 325.
One of the big anniversary ones.
Which means they did a few extra covers for it. We did get a little extra. They also introduced 2 new characters, a drone operator and a sniper.
This is a story that's set in their kind of fictional nation of... what is it?
It's Darklonia.
It's Barovia.
Barovia, yeah.
Yeah, so a sort of Eastern European country that's like kind of clashing with I guess for lack of better words, a Russian-type empire.
It definitely has Ukraine vibes.
Yes. It does. And the Joes are out on a mission to, like, I guess kind of assess the...
capabilities.
Drone capabilities of them with their own drone guy as well as a sniper, and they're working with, Roadblock is there, and then there's a couple members of the Barovian team.
Yep.
And Barovia has been one of those, as a fictional country that they've been using in G.I. Joe since the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like what's the South American one?
Sierra Gordo.
These have been staples of the unstable world that Hama depicts.
Yeah.
But always kind of rooted in some realities. And this is a cool issue. This is
the third in a row of him doing sort of standalone military adventure. He definitely has done his research. I mean, Hama was a vet. But he has kept up because, like, his stuff about the way snipers work, the way drone warfare works, it all feels very real.
You know what the thing I learned from this that I had no idea about is that drone snipers who operate out of bombed out buildings and stuff like that. He said that they'll set up a raised table so that they can go as far back into the room as possible, making them that much harder to spot. And snipe from the raised table, in the center of the room, not right up at the window.
Yeah, there's some really cool little bits like that.
And this is a pretty brutal fight with a lot of sort of last minute saves. It's not quite the typical G.I. Joe kind of big action and adventure, but that is something in the comics that he has always done these moments. So it was a cool one.
It's another one, and the art is great. Is this
Chris Mooneyham?
Chris Mooneyham. Yeah. I've been really enjoying the.
Yeah, it felt kind of akin to the plane issue.
Yeah. The big dogfight issue between the Sky Striker and the Rattler.
This is basically drone versus drone and sniper versus sniper, and it's cleverly done. I thought it was.
There's a file card for the drone guy in the back, but not the sniper. I wanted a file card for that person.
Downrange, I believe, is what her name is.
Yep.
Downrange and RC.
DCK,
but I'm sure they'll do one in a subsequent issue.
DCKO number 4 comes out this week. We can reveal that the tail end of 3 was that the Absolute editions showed up. The Absolute Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman showed up as Darkseid's pawns. They've been possessed along with Booster Gold, and they are throwing down with Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and the Joker.
Yeah, and this also is the penultimate issue of the series.
It is.
Some crazy stuff happens in this. You know what I really liked is, like, I felt like everybody was kind of being in character in this. They're like, our classic DC heroes are trying to figure out, are these dark side minions, the absolute characters, is there anything left in them that they can get out?
Yep.
Can they break them from control? There's a kind of an interesting thing where they keep going back as a framing device to the board game that, like, Superman or like Diana, Clark, and Bruce were playing in the first issue.
Yep.
And using that as a sort of framing mechanism for the risk taking or Batman's the way he plans. There's a great scene in this where Batman, they flash back to the game and they're like, Batman or like Bruce, you're cheating in some way. When you need to roll a 2, you roll a 2. When you need to roll a 6, you roll a 6. And he's like, I'm actually not cheating. He's like, when I held the dice a few times, I figured out their imperfections from their weight, and he's like, I figured out how to roll what I wanted to roll. He's like, so I'm not cheating. He's like, I'm being Batman. I was like, it's a little meta, but it's the kind of thing I love about this series.
Yeah.
And it actually has a thematic through line to something that occurs in the story, which is fun.
Joker gets to be Joker.
Joker gets to be Joker.
Yep. And Luther's in there too. I forgot Luther is also.
There's a fun ending to it that's like, oh shit.
Yep. Yeah, I think.
It's kind of what you want in an event, which is lots of oh shit moments.
Well, it also leaves it in such
some heart.
It leaves it in such a place where I'm like, I have no idea what the next issue's going to be.
Yeah, I don't know how the good guys win this one.
So I mean, that's a good thing to have.
Event. It's a good event.
Yeah. Really digging KO. And
Snyder's done a really good job.
He has. I gotta say.
A couple big facsimile editions this week. One is Superman number 423, which was the final issue of the Superman run before Crisis.
Yeah, it's actually a two-parter, so there will be one more.
Oh, okay, yeah. And this is the Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow by Alan Moore, Kurt Swan, and George Perez. That is basically the end of Superman. And so
that Superman that started in the 1930s, Alan Moore got to write his final story, and that was it in the 80s. And then they relaunched with Crisis on Infinite Earths, and there's been lots of relaunches since. But this is the only time that character ever got an ending. And Alan Moore did a pretty good job. It's a little dark.
Yeah, it is.
And then they were like, suck it, Alan Moore. We're going to...
Like, the Legion comes back, and they're like...
This is the day you die.
Yeah, they're like, this is your darkest day. The history books are vague about what happens, but it's your darkest day. We know something terrible happens. Remember how, like, Supergirl dies in Crisis on Infinite Earths? She's talking to Superman, and that has happened by the time this was written.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, Clark. She's like, why don't she's like, you don't seem to want to talk to me. Is there something wrong? And he's like, oh, it's nothing. And she's like, or maybe is it Superman? Oh no, it's the Legionnaires. And she's like, well, I don't want to ask too much. I know we're not supposed to know about the future, but she's like, am I still pretty? And they're like, oh, that's messed up. This is dark. But it is like you see a lot of his work, Luthor and Brainiac and all these other characters, and there's a sort of a big reveal about who his final foe is, which is a pretty cool, creepy thing.
Yeah.
I have some issues with it, but it does...
Same as with all Alan Moore things,
Alan Moore things, but it also does end on a really good note, and that'll be in the next issue of it.
And then the other one is Punisher number 1. This is the first Punisher miniseries, when he spun out from being a villain in the Spider-Man books.
Yep.
By
it's a prison story.
Mike Barron, I think, is the
Stephen
writer.
Grant.
Stephen Grant and
Mike
Zack is the artist.
Yeah.
It's him in prison.
So I got this as a kid when I was at the peak of my Punisher fandom.
Yep.
And I really loved it. I found it very gritty. I was surprised at how gritty the prison stuff was. Okay. Even though I think now we would look back and it's like, it's not Vertigo gritty or anything. Right. But it felt gritty if you were just expecting superhero stuff. It introduced Jigsaw. It has some great Mike Zeck art. And it shows how Punisher is kind of like a somewhat Rorschach-like badass, even when they think they've got him right where they want him.
Yeah.
So I recommend it.
Some reprints this week. We've got Absolute Batman number 14 and 15. That's the introduction of the Joker and the Wonder Woman. No. It's not Wonder Woman team-up. It's something else.
14 and 15 was, I think, Catwoman and Joker, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I know the Joker. I'm not sure on the other one.
Aquaman number 11, second printing, which was one of the early KO tie-ins that sold out very quickly. We've also got a bunch of trades again this week. Books of Slaughter Deluxe Edition is the hardcover of the 3 one-shots that sort of deepen the books of...
it's got a little bit of a monster manual vibe to it, but also...
But there's a story in it as well.
focusing on
spin off of what?
Something's killing the children.
Oh, right.
But focusing on some of the ancillary characters
Yeah.
as younger versions of themselves joining the group.
It's a lot of world building around what the monsters are,
it's
the
really
training
good.
of the houses, that kind of thing. Daredevil by Charles Soule. Charles Soule did a really weird Daredevil run a while back that had really nice art by Ron Garney. The big thing was he introduced the serial killer Muse, who was used in Daredevil Born Again.
Yep.
And I forget what else. There was also Ninjas and Kingpin Mayor stuff in there.
Yeah.
But it's an odd run, but it's actually really good. I read it a few years ago.
Yeah, it's a little bit more offbeat.
It's in 3 digest-sized trades. You can get the whole run as one.
They were released
one shot.
simultaneously?
Yep.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Weird, but cool.
DC Finest gets another volume. This is Green Arrow, Trial of Oliver Queen, which is sort of the midsection of the Mike Grell run.
Oh, okay.
So really good stuff.
They're reprinting kind of that whole thing, I think,
Yeah, they
ultimately.
are. Dragonlance Legends, which is the Twins trilogy of Dragonlance, the second
the prose
trilogy.
Second
novel.
trilogy, yep.
This gets a nice hardcover.
Yeah.
The first one has done really well for us. We don't carry a ton of books.
It's
but-
fascinating to see how Dragonlance has endured as a D&D setting, and because of the very memorable characters, their own fellowship is really interesting. Over decades, since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see it going on and get a second volume.
Elfquest, The Final Quest, gets a full-color hardcover. This is the same
nice.
format as the other Elfquest they've been doing.
Yep.
This is the most recent. This is the big finale of it all.
Oh, right.
Free for All, the Patrick Horvath story that was about
right.
the rich having to fight in arenas to maintain their
yeah.
wealth.
It's a standalone
Gets
hardcover.
a standalone hardcover with some behind-the-scenes stuff, that kind of thing. This is the guy who did Beneath the Trees.
Yeah. It's definitely worth picking up.
Krypto, Last Star of Krypton, the Ryan North series with, is it Mike Huddleston on art?
No,
it's Mike Norton.
Mike Norton.
Which is a pretty interesting, kind of a dark story.
I was gonna say it's not a light crypto story.
No. It is a realistic, this is what it would be like to be a dog with superpowers.
This is a guy who knows how to draw dogs.
Yep.
He is
He drew Battle Pug.
Battle Pug, yeah.
Battle Pug. One World Under Doom gets collected.
Okay,
Nice, yeah. That was, who wrote that?
was,
That's Ryan.
Ryan
That's
North.
also Ryan North.
Ryan North, yes.
Along with their tie-in, the Runaways tie-in they did, gets a collection this week.
that was
That one
cool.
was a ton of fun.
Peacemaker Tries Hard, the Kyle Starks Peacemaker book that was really fun, gets a trade collection. It's already been out in hardcover for a while, but that's been out. The Titans by Tom Taylor Omnibus, this entire Titans run that Tom Taylor did. And then the Transformers UK Compendium. This is one of these big, giant soft covers of Simon Furman's Transformers stuff, which is, he is like the granddaddy of Transformers.
Yes.
Right, and so this is some of his iconic early work, I guess.
Yeah. And then a couple other single issues worth mentioning. Supergirl, as always, I think we're all really enjoying Supergirl.
And I really like this issue. I love how it's like walks a line a little bit between kind of like Archie kind of wholesomeness, and a little bit of cutting edge stuff, a little bit of undergroundness. So in this, what's her name, Lena Luthor, and I can't remember the name of the new girl, but basically some of the superpowered friends of Kara.
Her name is Luna.
They've all got the traditional LL thing.
Yep.
Lena is on the outs with Supergirl, who Supergirl felt she betrayed her.
Yeah.
And is like hanging out with this kind of hunky tattoo artist. Only they think there's a secret to this guy. They think there's something more going on. And at the same time, Lena Luthor is trying to she's got a kind of punker girl kind of vibe, like this sort of evil punker girl. But like she's trying to be good. And she wants to make up with Supergirl. She really, really wants to. I feel like there's a little bit more something going on there than just friendship.
For sure.
But it becomes, because this is kind of like a Neo Silver Age comic, when this all comes to a boil, and it turns out there is a secret about the tattoo artist guy. It does result in a kind of a weird supervillain appears, and there's like a fight. And the fights, the emotional stakes are, will these girls be able to stay friends? There is something else going on. There is a secret to the dude. But I like the balance it finds between being both a kind of personal, kind of cozy comic, and still having these big sort of superhero moments.
Yep.
I really like the art from, it's now Joe Quinones, I think.
Yeah. I miss Sophie Campbell's art, but Joe Quinones is good.
I agree. If I could have had every issue drawn by Sophie Campbell, I would. There's even, by the way, in the end of this, one of those classic kind of 50s, 60s era things where they kind of have to do a Supergirl and Kara are in the same place at the same time, and they have to figure out a way to do it.
That's fun.
That is such a classic Superman riff. But I didn't really used to like reading that in old comics, but I like how Sophie Campbell does it. So yeah, super fun.
Alien vs. Captain America wraps up, and it's a really good wrap up.
It was.
I really like this. There's a tease for the end question mark, and I'm like, man, I'd read more of this.
Yeah, it's a good big battle. It basically, like, I'm not going to spoil some of the bigger things, but it's set on D-Day.
Yeah.
Imagine D-Day with xenomorphs, and that is like part of it.
It's crazy.
There's a big, massive boss fight that's very cool. There's a guest star thing, which I will not spoil, that I thought was super dope.
Yep.
And kind of a fun, dark ending. Have we seen the end of this?
Planet She-Hulk brings back Jack of Hearts.
Yep, makes sense. It's the writer of She-Hulk, and that's her.
This was not that writer.
Oh, was it not?
No, Rainbow Rowell was the writer of that.
Oh, that's right. This
is Stephanie Phillips.
But they have become intertwined.
Yeah.
Yes. But I do. I like that as like her recurring boyfriend, kind of the same way Wyatt was Wyatt Wingfoot back in the day.
But in this one, he's had his memory wiped, and now she has to fight him.
They got to fight in the arena because they're on Arena World.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 15. This is the third part of Jean Lin Wang's story, and while I really loved Jason Aaron's run, I thought maybe I wouldn't like the next writer. I'm kind of digging what he's doing here. His riff on Shredder is particularly interesting, and there's a big turn in this issue.
Or Splinter?
Yeah. I keep doing that.
Because Splinter is back, and it's almost like an unspoken question. They're like, we think he might be linked to this assassin we've been seeing, who has this very cool look, by the way. Yeah, he does. I love the look on that assassin. And they're like so happy to basically have their father back. They're like, well, let's not bring it up. And then things are revealed in this. There's some cool stuff, and it does dive into Splinter's own lore.
And then there's Transformers 29, which is a Robert Kirkman written, Dan Mora drawn giant throwdown between all the Transformers.
Yep, it is true.
Including Devastator and with Bruticus.
Yep. I saw, is that Brawn in there?
Brawn is in there. Who's
the tank guy? The big bruiser tank from the animated series.
Oh,
is it Brawl?
No. I forget.
Anyway, that dude,
it's a full-on throwdown of all the Transformers.
Yeah. He's actually going toe-to-toe with Bruticus just by himself.
He is, yeah. He's a big dude.
Did I miss anything? Any solutions?
No, let's see. We mentioned that. I continue to enjoy Action Comics from Mark Waid, which is basically a Smallville comic, but just with a bit more superhero-y stuff in it. In the last issue, I guess, Pete Ross?
Pete Ross, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. His best bud from Smallville figures out that he's Superboy, but he spots it. He's not told it. And he is going through this whole issue is about kind of feeling like he was betrayed by his friend. He's pissed at him, but he's also trying to figure out he's like psychologically, instead of he knows that if they talk it's going to be a fight. Because he's like, why didn't you trust me? And so instead, he's going through the scenarios in his head of like, well, maybe, why did he do it? Is it this? Am I a bad friend? Could it be this? And he's kind of twisting himself up over it. And nobody knows quite what's going on, but they can tell something's wrong. And there is a storyline that will bring it to a head that has to do with some people, slightly more scary bullies, like from Stephen King. Stand By Me and stuff. Yeah. There's a bully that's a bit more like that, that's going to bring the story to a head and make Pete have to come to some conclusions. And I thought it was pretty good. I think sometimes this is a difficult line to walk. How does a superhero keep their secret identity? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Are they being good to their friends? Are they being bad to their friends? And I think Mark Waid approaches it in a way that kind of respects tradition of sometimes there is a reason to kind of protect your friends and all that stuff. But at the same time, showing Pete Ross to be a good and empathetic person, but also a person who's kind of going through some real mental struggles in the issue. And I think that he does it with like a keen insight. I feel like he feels like he's a person who's been there, who's dealt with like depression and stuff, and I'm pretty sure he has.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a good standalone issue about with Pete Ross as the centerpiece.
All right, let's take a break, and then we'll talk about some trailers and some news. All right, we got a few trailers to talk about, and then a couple bits of news.
Like some Super Bowl stuff.
The Super Bowl
right?
had a bunch of trailers. These are all for the Super Bowl, I guess. Well, the Rooster trailer is not. It was on
that
previously.
was just...
Rooster is a new show on HBO Max. Stars Steve Carell, Connie Britton, Phil Dunst, Dunston, something like that.
Yeah,
the guy who played Jamie Tart on.
Yes,
and then man, I'm blanking on his name. Dr. Cox.
Yeah, from Scrubs.
And it is a Bill Lawrence show. Bill Lawrence did Ted Lasso, Scrubs, Lesser Known Cougar Town, and Shrinking.
Yep.
Every show he does is sort of heartwarming and human and hilarious. He's one of my favorite showrunners, up there with Mike Schur.
Steve Carell is a writer.
Steve Carell is the actor.
No. His
Bill
character.
Lawrence. Oh, Steve Carell is he's a novelist.
Like, let's just say what the premise of it is.
Here's the thing. I don't think the premise is important, as to people know. It is a new Bill Lawrence show. He has done a bunch of TV you've liked.
I think that hits home for you and for me because the pedigree is so good. But the story itself seems about like a writer who's...
He does like action hero, like airport novels, basically. His lead character's named Rooster. He is a Mac Bolan type dude, I think, soldier for hire.
Divorced, whose ex-wife... Is it ex-wife or
We're talking about the Steve Carell's character, not the
correct.
now.
So no, his character is his daughter.
His daughter.
So his daughter is she's a teacher at this like Ivy University.
Right.
Her husband had an affair with a grad student.
Yep.
And they've gotten divorced, or maybe in the process of getting divorced. Yeah. And he shows up because in taking revenge on her husband, she may have gone a little overboard and burned down faculty housing.
Looks like it.
And he is basically trying to get them to keep her at her job. And they're like, well, you're a well-known author. Come and teach some classes, and we'll see what we can do. And so he's going to become part of this college thing, campus lifestyle, and have a little bit of another college experience for himself. He's maybe
there's a little bit of back to school.
Yeah, a little
about
bit.
It.
It reminded me a lot of.
He's hanging out with the frat boys at some point, and
they're nerdy frat boys though.
Right. It's and Steve Carell is Steve Carell.
Yeah,
he's got a different couple of modes though.
But it's not strictly the Office mode.
This is more of his 40-year-old virgin mode than his Michael from the Office mode.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the movie Wonder Boys.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah. Which Wonder Boys is really good.
It's great.
Like that movie.
Never seen it.
Michael Douglas.
Recommended. But yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. The trailer's really good. Recommend checking it out. It is called Rooster. The other three are all Super Bowl trailers.
Mostly I think most of these show are a lot of stuff we've already seen, but...
And talked about to some degree, but
they're kind of fun.
Mandalorian and Grogu does a really hilarious riff on the Budweiser beer commercials, but instead of being...
You see the what looks like horses stomping through the snow and creating a big spray
you get a Sam Elliott voiceover.
He's like, yeah, these are people who work hard, or one of those kind of very beer commercially sort of things.
And then it pulls out to reveal it is in fact 4 Tauntauns playing a hover sled with the Mandalorian and Grogu in it.
Yeah.
And then they play the trailer.
And he's like, and he does say.
This is the way.
He's like, this is the way.
Yep.
It's a clever bit of stunt voice casting
It's a fun little teaser. The trailer itself, we've seen it before. I don't know if there's anything new in here. They might
probably 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah, there was probably some stuff.
We've talked about it before, Randy. I think you put it. We were talking off mic, and you said this looks like a good crowd pleaser.
It's a crowd pleasing Star Wars movie,
which is what Mandalorian mostly is.
Yeah, and I'm for it. I mean, everything can't be Andor,
right?
And I loved Andor, but I'm looking forward to more Mandalorian as well.
Yeah, we see the whatever hut it is that's like an arena fighting
boxing hut,
like all ripped and tough looking. We see some big action sequence involving Imperial walkers.
Yep.
One of them gets blowed up and falls off a freaking mountain.
Yep, it's pretty cool. And we see Sigourney Weaver as a rebel something.
Getting marked for death by Baby Yoda for not allowing him to take
snack or whatever.
Yes.
Yep.
And then at some point, Mando kicks some dude real hard in a bar, and it looks cool.
It's pretty great. It's got the this is Sparta kick.
Yeah, it's a big kick.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure what story you do for Mandalorian and Grogu that's worthy of the silver screen as opposed to just another season of The Mandalorian, but I'll be curious to see what they do.
Yeah,
they're definitely enjoying the budget.
Is this one that was going to be that could have just been some episodes?
I don't know.
I think this was always focused on being a movie.
And it's
so
John
there probably would be something notable about it as far as his lore? Or...
I would assume so. It's being written and directed by Jon Favreau, who has rarely done a bad movie.
It's true.
Except for Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah, you know,
I went look. Everybody gets one. I went looking to see if maybe.
Did he do Lion King?
And did Lion King. Yeah, you're right. Two. Everyone gets two.
That's the live action remake of Lion King.
At any rate, though, Favreau has a pretty good track record with movies.
Yeah.
So
you might remember him from such movies as Elf, Iron Man, and Chef.
Yeah. And Zathra, which some people like. I've never seen.
Oh, you've never? It's good.
I've heard.
It's fun.
We get a Supergirl trailer, also a Super Bowl trailer that gives a little more insight into how she found Krypto. We get baby puppy Krypto.
Yep. She looks like she's part of some kind of weird, like, nunnery kind of thing. It looks like some sort of... She's marching alongside some sort of very formal-looking religious people.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't know who they are.
I don't know either.
It's on Krypton.
It's on Krypton, so it doesn't matter anymore.
I don't know that that's exactly how I'd look at it, but that's probably how Luther would look at it.
That religious order is dead.
But yeah, she sees a little Krypto off to the side.
Unless that whole thing is getting bottled by
the bottle city,
which it kind of looked like it was.
Yeah. Maybe they're going to do more of a deliberate bottling.
The very first trailer for Superman, which turned out to be really good.
Yep.
Did cleverly involve Krypto too. I think James Gunn did have a good realization, which is that people love dogs.
The Krypto Cinematic Universe?
The Krypto Cinematic Universe, yes. Eventually they're going to have to do an Aquaman movie or like a Green Lantern show or whatever, and it's just not going to have Krypto in the trailer.
No, Krypto will be there.
It's just like...
They'll try something else.
Dogs love swimming.
They'll do like Topo or something.
No, they're going to be like, guess what? We just got a new canine unit.
And then finally we got the teaser for Adventures of Cliff Booth, the Netflix movie that's directed by David Fincher that is the story of Brad Pitt's character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Is it a prequel or a sequel?
I believe it's a sequel. He looks like he's got like shaggier hair. I think it's what happens to him after the events of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
They sort of end up going their separate ways.
Yeah, they do.
At the end?
Yep.
And just in case you haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's a story of a slightly washed-up actor played by Leo DiCaprio, who's kind of a could have been the next Steve McQueen who didn't.
Yep. And he's very washed-up stuntman who may have murdered his wife.
I think he did murder.
Pretty much did murder his wife.
And it's typical crazy Tarantino stuff that also involved the Manson family and Bruce Lee is in that movie.
Yep, sure. It's funny. Brad Pitt plays a sort of swaggery. I mean, to some extent, Cliff Booth is a bad guy.
Yeah,
he killed his wife. He's kind of an arrogant ass, but also he does have that loyalty to his buddy.
Yep.
And also he does he doesn't have sex with the Manson girl because he knows she's underage.
Yep. Right.
And he goes out to help rescue
ass on some Manson
He does.
People.
He goes out to help rescue a friend of his who thinks he might be being taken advantage of. He whoops up a few people who need whooping up on, including Bruce Lee.
This is I guess a longtime Tarantino theme. Harvey Keitel in Reservoir Dogs is a killer and a thief, a professional thief who has no objections with killing people other than trying to be professional about it.
But he has sort of a code of honor. He looks out for his buddy who got shot, and is very fatherly to him, when he's shot and all this stuff. So Tarantino likes to do those stories about sort of people where you don't actually necessarily try and excuse who they are. They just are who they are.
No, they're all unrepentant killers.
Yeah.
But I still like Jules and Vincent and, a bunch of other random characters he comes up with.
When they have to shoot up those college kids who, borrowed some mob money and didn't, or drugs or something like that, and didn't make good on it at the beginning of Pulp Fiction?
Check out
those kids seem kind of like little pieces of shit.
They were weasels.
They probably deserved it.
They would have been Turning Point USA
fans. So what you're saying is that Cliff's wife deserved to die?
It's conceivable.
I mean, she might.
I wasn't going to go there.
So,
Nick, it's college students, sleazy college students are one thing. This woman was just a nag.
So this is it's written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by David Fincher. Fincher is my question mark in this one because I really enjoyed Fight Club. I really liked The Game. I really liked what's something else that he's done.
Zodiac. What's his serial killer show that he did that was so good? Manhunter.
Mindhunter, which I'm still mad at him for not finishing.
But may actually finish. They're talking about doing a series of 3 movies or something.
If he finishes, I'll forgive him. But at any rate,
it's looking conceivable.
Comic adaptation of The Killer.
Yeah. which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
The trailer for this is fun. It looks very grindhousey. It does not look very Fincher. It looks much more Tarantino-esque. The cast includes Yahya Abdul-Mateen's second, a.k.a. Wonder Man.
Yep.
Elizabeth Debicki, a.k.a. the Golden Woman from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Carla Gugino, who I always love. Yep. Timothy Olyphant. Holt McElhaney.
Wow, that is a great cast.
Scott Kahn.
I remember at one point... and like Tarantino himself has been kind of a real piece of shit lately.
He has. He
so
really
there
has.
is that. But I remember at one point Kurt Busiek, comic book writer Kurt Busiek, was talking about, I think, Hateful Eight when he had seen it. And he was just saying, he's like, I bet... He's like, it must be like a real dream for almost any actor to get offered like one of his movies, because you're going to get just such a fun role almost always. This is something he generally delivers on. And... I think Busiek said that, there's a lot of like kind of bullshitting and just talking in his movies, but it's kind of purposeful bullshit. It sort of meanders around and, in a way that he thinks is like meaningful within the story.
Yeah.
And, can Fincher pull that off?
I don't know.
Is he quite able to like work within Tarantino's wheelhouse? I don't know.
I think Fincher is one of our best directors.
He's a really good director.
So I
have a fair amount of faith.
No doubt about that quality.
If he's challenging himself with such a thing,
maybe it's good.
I think it could be a good thing.
The trailer did something that I found slightly annoying, which is to kind of, I think, show how raunchy and raucous it was. There's like kind of consistent visual blurring of people, like as if somebody did a scratch out their mouth when they swear, like if they did a little marker over it. Yeah, somebody gives the finger. There's nudity, violence.
Yeah.
So it's meant to definitely show this is going to be an R-rated crazy party. But I just kind of, it was sort of annoying to me.
I was annoyed by that, but I get what they were going for.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the NC-17, our Red Band trailer.
Yeah, there you go. But and I am interested to see this.
So, 2 bits of news, one of which just came in while we were prepping for this.
Oh.
Yep. It's hot off the presses.
People don't know what presses are.
Right. It'll be also, by the time you listen to us, it will be 24 hours since, and everyone will know about it. But right now,
it's
true.
For us, it's breaking news. But first, Baldur's Gate is going to be getting a TV series on HBO, run by Craig Mazin, who's the co-creator of Last of Us and Chernobyl. And is a fantastic. And he didn't do Watchmen. He did the podcast for Watchmen.
Yes, he did the podcast.
Some people really didn't like the Last of Us TV show. People who are big video game nerds and thought that it didn't do a good adaptation. Those people are crazy.
Yeah, this is really good.
It was a fantastic series adapted from
by the creator.
What's that?
By the creator.
Yeah. Well, this guy worked on the TV shows, and he already screwed up, and people are like, well, how are they going to do this? What Baldur's Gate has multiple endings, and I'm like, guys, it's not that complicated. A Baldur's Gate TV show by Craig Mazin is a win. Yeah, that is a good thing.
Yeah, and it is a sequel to the stories.
It is a sequel to the stories.
So you're going to find out about I know there are beloved characters in this.
Yep.
What was that guy's name?
Astarion. Yep.
Yeah. Astarion, Karlak, yeah,
Shadowheart,
yeah. These are
Gale.
beloved characters. I am just now playing it.
Yeah,
I don't know, decently into it, but I don't know where I am percentage wise. But I'm decently into it, and I've met all the characters at this point. Yep. I can see that you could do a lot with them.
Yep.
And so yeah, like having a really talented crew wanting to do a follow-up stories. I mean, first of all, this is probably going to be like the best done D&D show ever.
Yep. We might actually get more D&D shows and movies out of this.
Yep. What's interesting is Baldur's Gate does have a different energy from the D&D movie, which we all like. It
does, yeah.
It's not to say there's no comedy. There's comedy in it.
Yeah.
But it is, the serious stuff is a bit more serious.
It's true.
And the characters are a little deeper, I think.
Yeah.
But that all bodes well for me. What were you asking?
Where is this going to be on? I missed it.
HBO.
Yeah, then it's going to be...
It's going to be great.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy that honestly there have been like so many things that could have made like a good big breakout D&D show in the past, whether it's Dragonlance, Drizzt, you know, some of the other Forgotten Realms stories. Even continuing the movie thing could have been really good.
Yep.
But it looks like it seems like Baldur's Gate may end up being the breakout.
I think you're right.
I still want to see the Dragonlance. What's his name was going to do? Who's that big gamer?
Yes.
I don't know who you're talking
He's
about.
an actor who's a
actor.
gamer.
He played Deathstroke in the
Manganiello?
Yeah, Joe Manganiello. Yeah. He had written a pitch for that was supposed to be kind of beloved.
Dragonlance would have been a great live action show to do.
Yeah.
I think its biggest trouble is that it does resemble like a Lord of the Rings thing on the surface, with a classic gathering of heroes. But
it's a lot more dragons.
D&D-ish too, and the characters are there's a little like what's his name? The guy who made Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson. He definitely added some fun that was not necessarily in Tolkien's work.
Yep.
But there is more of that kind of those sort of fun things that were just built into Dragonlance.
Is there a possibility we'll see Minsk and Boo?
I think there's a strong possibility.
Okay. I didn't know if they showed up in Baldur's Gate.
They
do
video show up in the game.
Okay, good. I wasn't going to say anything because they do. I didn't know if David.
I knew about this. I seem to remember somebody I know, like, it was our former staffer, Shireen. She was like, I couldn't figure out how to not kill them.
I unfortunately killed them. And I had no choice but to kill them.
Oh, no.
And I was very upset about
stuff points you one way or the other.
I thought there was no way around it. Apparently there is, and I couldn't figure it out. I almost want to play the whole game again just to not do that.
Yep. What would be fun is, like, obviously they're not the central characters of it, but it's like they should get, like, an episode of the show that focuses on teaming up with them.
Oh, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Go for the eyes.
The other bit of story that just showed up, Warner Brothers is going to have Mike Flanagan do a new adaptation of The Mist.
Wait, The Mist.
Yep, he's going to direct and write a screenplay of The Mist.
Well, it'll replace the Frank Darabont kind of...
Wait, that movie is, like, beloved, though.
Yeah, but Mike Flanagan is the best King adapter there is.
Yeah, and I don't like Frank Darabont that much.
As a solid director, he definitely manipulates really heavily.
Yeah, I feel it a bit more in his movies. Yeah. But he is talented too. Like,
but it's interesting because
I liked Green Mile better than, like, Shawshank. But like between that and, like, he kicked off The Walking Dead, he's got his bona fides.
But the thing is, I know King likes that version of The Mist.
Sure, yeah. But Flanagan, if Mike Flanagan wants to do your show, you let him do it, because he has done Gerald's Game, Dr. Sleep, Life of Chuck, all of which are fantastic movies.
Was it a novella?
It was a novella, yeah.
So because my usual expectation from Flanagan is that he would expand it and make it a miniseries, and because, like, at its heart, The Mist is this story about this weird mist that comes down from the mountains in a smallish town, I think.
Yep.
And there's monsters in the mist. A group of people hole up in, like, a department store kind of thing, and you get the kind of what I think of as a somewhat zombie story kind of thing of, like, there's someone who's, like, the crazy religious person who thinks this is the end times, and here's the good people that we like, and they're kind of forming factions and infighting. It's like there's elements of what you see in what's King's The Stand, right, and things like that, but in a sort of smaller sequence. Now, I would expect with Flanagan to expand that, but I will say, I don't quite know what you build it out to.
I don't know. I don't know that I've seen The Mist.
It's pretty good.
I've seen The Fog.
It's depressing as hell.
Yeah, it is. I guess the ending actually almost seemed a little... It has a famously kind of dark ending. And it's one of those ones that almost seemed... Like, I almost found it funny... because I was like, oh my god. I'm like, what a twist. That was so dark.
It's not like Thomas Jane is the best actor.
It felt a little edgelordy. So yeah, on that basis, I'm down for all the Flanagan stuff.
Yep.
But
I am
still sort of surprised at this one.
I'm all for Flanagan doing whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very curious for his Carrie TV show.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk about a couple TV shows and a novel series. All right, so we're going to check in on Starfleet Academy, which has just hit its 6th episode, I think?
Something like that. I think, or is it
1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. Might be 5. At any rate... we talked to the first 2, and we all liked it.
Yes. Wait, Nick, you haven't...
I haven't watched any of it.
I thought you watched the first... Oh, you haven't watched any of it.
I'm a completely outlier. I have not... I've been in that weird spot where my wife is wanting to watch TV, but not certain things, and she doesn't do Star Trek, and I haven't had time to sit down with that.
Okay. So, we, as always with the Rogue Cast, we haven't talked about this as much lately, but there is a trifecta of us. One of us loves it, one of us hates it, and one of us just likes the thing.
That's right.
Or dislikes a thing. There's a medium.
So does Nick, by virtue of not having seen it, dislike it?
He's a medium. He's medium, Dave.
Oh, he's the medium.
Yes.
I'm sure.
I'm going to get the dislike.
I love it, and you hate it.
I hate it now. Now, here's the funny thing: is like I was on board, but I have been like struggling a little bit with sort of its. To me, it's the incidental writing, the dialogue and stuff like that felt a little kind of like the dialogue in Lower Decks.
Well, Tawny Newsome is one of the writers.
Yep.
Like Lower Decks is definitely this vibes as much. It vibes like a mix of Lower Decks and Discovery.
But
neither of those were the best written Star Treks.
But is it really reaching for those kind of zaniness that the Lower Decks did?
It's got a little bit of goofy. It's got a little bit of CW goofiness.
You know, like kind of sometimes in movies when characters talk, and it feels a little scripty, and they say something like, this guy is not staying in my quarters, he smells like an elephant, or something like that.
Right.
And you're like, well, nobody quite talks like that, but it's kind of fun patter sometimes.
It feels very writerly. The kind of thing Aaron Sorkin does a lot of.
Yeah, there are people I like who do it, and there's just sort of different vibes. And so
there's people with talent that do it, and the people that don't.
People who suck. Now, I think we talked about. So this is there's a lot of stuff to like about it. I'll say that no matter what. It's it is about after a big galactic sort of tragic like 100-year almost like depression.
120 years of no interstellar travel, or very limited interstellar travel.
And it led everybody to kind of become a little more scared, a little more warlike, and all this stuff. And so now, Starfleet Academy, things are back and exploring again, and we're rebuilding bridges.
It is the first class of Starfleet in 120 years.
Yeah. And you've got an unusual collection of misfits and likable weirdos and stuff like this, navigating it and kind of getting in their first serious relationships.
We talked about the characters previously. Just to recap, the lead characters are the captain of the ship and chancellor of the academy is Holly Hunter. By the way, this is my one gripe about this and Discovery both. I don't know who any of the cast names are. I just know the actors.
Yeah, we're gonna have to call them like the Klingon guy or whatever.
They're not good at telling what the names are.
Yeah.
So Holly Hunter is Captain something. She's a half Lanthanite, so she's long lived, hundreds of years old.
Yeah. What was it? The Lanthanite that was on.
Carol Kane plays.
Carol Kane was the one on from Strange New Worlds. Yeah.
Yep. Don't remember her name either. I just remember Carol Kane.
Yeah.
Now this could just be me. I'm old. Maybe I don't remember names anymore. But the lead character is a kid who she took him away from his mom during the burn era, like right as the burn was happening.
Right. His family kind of inadvertently had gotten involved with some criminal stuff. Sort of one of those, almost a little bit like Les Mis, like had to steal some bread to survive kind of stuff.
But they killed a Starfleet officer.
But a Starfleet officer ended up getting killed in the thing, and so his mom went to jail, and he became a ward of Starfleet.
But rather than that, he escaped and grew up amongst criminals and stuff.
Right. He's
a bad guy, a bad boy turned good.
He's a bad boy turned good. He's the Star Trek version of a bad boy, which means he's still pretty much a nerd.
So Kirk, like they did with him in the movie.
100% yes.
He is like a prodigy who's like an expert with computers.
Yep.
And they've actually been doing some very good stuff with him. He's kind of got a gift of gab. He's got charisma and knows it.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes that means he trips. But sometimes that means he's a good buddy to people.
He's a great lead character. His foil is an Ionian. Is that what the name of the race is?
Yep.
They're weird gem-looking people. They vomit glitter.
Sure.
He looks like actually human most of the time, but that's like a assumed look.
His natural form is like Martin X from the Guardians.
Right. And he can he can say survive outside of an atmosphere for longer than people can, which is something he does.
Yep.
During an emergency, he has to go walk out on the hull of a ship with no suit.
Yep.
And that was pretty cool.
And he is an arrogant jerk who wants to be captain.
He also has a heart of gold.
He also has a heart of gold. They all have hearts of gold.
Yes.
There's Genesis. I remember her name because it's an unusual name. Yep. She is a daughter of a Starfleet admiral, so she's grew up on Starfleet, and she knows the ins and outs of all these things, and is kind of like an expert. And she's also a very kind of gregarious, friendly person. Mm-hmm. I think both the leads kind of have a thing for her. There's definitely a little bit of a triangle developing between them, I think.
I would say so.
There's a Klingon who is a medic who wants to be he wants to do the version of Klingon glory that is saving people.
Right. He is a soft-spoken pacifist kind of Klingon.
Yeah.
And we will find out in one of the sort of
I think episode 4
key episodes, I would say that the Klingons are really suffering after the events of the burn. They've almost broken up into small sort of migrant groups.
Yeah.
And their problem is that they are too proud to accept help from anybody. The Federation wants to, now that they have some resources they're building up, they want to extend a hand, and the Klingons are like, we only take stuff in combat.
I really
so they've
love
basically kind of regressed from what the next next
to
gen.
some extent, but they're not as violent, and like they were a dangerous threat in the old days. This is more like a kind of Centauri fallen kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it's almost like if you imagine how like. If Russia, when it broke up into various states and stuff like that, had not kind of reformed under warlike people like Putin, but was a bunch of broken up little city-states and things, that's more like what the Klingons are.
I really like the solution they came up with. I thought that episode was really good, the Klingon episode.
It is a really good episode. It was framed around, and just to show, this will give you a sense of how the show kind of will do these things. Robert Picardo, the Doctor from Star Trek Voyager, the holographic Doctor, is hosting like a debate class, and there's they're talking about various topics they're going to go into, and some of the people, just like the students themselves, like the buzz of the news is that the Klingons are in a bad place right now, and that they won't accept help. And so everybody is asking this new Klingon student guy about it, and he's kind of soft-spoken, but he's getting pissed about it. He's like, you guys don't know shit about my culture, and he's like, you don't understand why things are the way they are. And then somebody suggests, well, maybe that's what the debate topic should be. Should the Klingons enter into the Federation? And Robert, the Doctor is like, well, I think that's a little touchy. And then the Klingon is like, no, it's the only thing that's important right now. We're already talking about it. We might as well do it officially. And he's so soft-spoken that when he says that, it's kind of persuasive. And that ends up becoming the debate topic. And so everybody kind of takes up their sides on it, and he is unusually people think the good thing, of course the Klingons should join and be freed, and he's like no, I'm taking the opposing stance. The Klingons should not do this, and they're going to die if they don't do this. And so it's this very sort of emotionally fraught episode, but it's also about him. He's a guy who can't do public speaking. He literally kind of freezes up and stammers and gets broken up over it. And in the course of the story, Randy, am I remembering right? The guy who's kind of like the bad boy is the Ionian or whatever. He's the one who comes over to help him do some breathing techniques.
Is that him, or is that Caleb Muir, our lead?
No, it's
okay. So the Darum Raimi is the name of the guy who's the Kaonian cadet. Is it him? Okay.
Yeah, it is him. He goes over and he kind of shows him some sort of breathing techniques and stuff, sort of meditative things to kind of get him in a better headspace to do it. And there is definitely a little bit of romantic interest, I think, going on between those two. I think our bad boy is very bisexual energy.
Yeah. Well, for sure, Jaden, which is the name of the Klingon.
Right.
Jaden, which by the way was a weird name for a Klingon.
A little weird. It's got an apostrophe,
he is
though.
100% a gay character. We get a lot of that in the latest episode.
It comes up in the latest episode. Somebody's very flirty with him.
The other main character is Sam, series acclamation Mill.
Yes.
Which is she looks like a young black woman, but she is in fact a hologram.
She's from a colony
from a holographic
hologram
race called the Kaskians.
Yep. She's sort of sent as an emissary, and there's a weird... for people who grew up in the 70s, if you remember
I know
Mork,
exactly what you're talking about.
Mork and Mindy.
Yep.
You know how Mork would, at the end of these old episodes, he would go back and report to the voice of his...
I'm blanking on the name of the people he would report to.
But yes. Was Mork calling Orson.
Orson. It was Orson, yeah.
But I don't know if there was a name for his people.
Orson was what I was thinking.
Orson, yeah. But she sort of reports to her holographic people that way, and they're kind of they're sort of really pushing her in this latest episode. They're we need to try and... What are they trying to figure out exactly?
They want to figure out people, because they're robots, basically. They're holograms, and they want to understand humanoids and
so are they an AI kind of?
Kind of yeah.
But isn't that what Picardo is as well?
Yes. So actually
he has a connection to him.
Because they're both holograms, but she is a holographic race, and he is a created hologram.
Oh, okay. Well,
she's basically...
It's almost like he's already evolved, and they're still getting there.
So I'm curious now. What you've been talking about all sounds interesting. And it seems like they're doing something a little bit different. Does it have kind of a Hogwarts kind of, for lack of a better term?
A little bit of that.
Because aren't there two dueling? Because there's a war college.
So there's a war college during the burn. The Federation turned to be more of a war footing, and so there's a war college, and there is a rivalry between the war college and its chancellor, and the chancellor of the Starfleet Academy.
He's kind of a stick-up-your-butt military guy.
And there is a... but the third episode is actually a...
Prank war.
A prank war between the two of them. So they're definitely they're definitely playing into the school archetypes. And what's interesting to me is I didn't know if this was going to work. I was like, is there that much interest in a Starfleet Academy? Like, Star Trek is about exploring and the big.
But you're kind of centralizing
and putting it all. And like they wisely, it is a teaching campus. So the campus actually is also a ship.
Right, I knew that,
and that's really clever to let them go out and do different things. But even just the stuff on the campus has been really interesting. And the latest episode, which is what for me 100% set me onto I love this show as opposed to just liking it, was Sam. She's working as the emissary of the Makers, her people, and they are like, you have a week to figure this all out or we're calling you home.
Okay.
And so she decides she is going to explore another emissary, Benjamin Sisko.
Which I don't know if you saw enough of DS9 to recall, Nick, but that is like the title he carried.
Yeah.
Because of his connection to the mysterious aliens.
They're wanting to figure out what happened to him and all this kind of stuff. So it is a Deep Space Nine lore episode.
Without telling you too much about Deep Space Nine, there is some mystery as to his final fate in the last season.
Okay.
And so she is basically trying to study against the wishes of her teacher, who is telling her this is a crazy thing to do.
It's like a century-spanning mystery
that no one solved.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to figure out like what happened to Benjamin Sisko. What does it mean to him to be the emissary? So it's kind of almost a love letter to Deep Space Nine and Sisko, including the return of a couple notable one actor and one character.
From Deep Space Nine.
Interesting.
In ways that made me smile and were very...
They used the music.
It was very emotionally affecting if you are a Deep Space Nine fan.
Well, at the same time, they also go to like a club and get drunk.
They also go to a club and she gets drunk because I thought this was very clever. She lets Caleb, the guy who's like... He's like, well, give me access to your systems. And he basically programs her so she can take shots by pushing a button. And she pushes the button like 12 times.
Yeah.
Sure.
And gets immediately hammered and she's never been drunk before.
Yeah.
And they get rowdy and get thrown out of the bar. And there's a lot of like CWE type
kind of goofiness.
And is that what kind of is rubbing you the wrong way? Is kind of that CW
I found myself not like the big emotional moments that I know. Like, I had a lot of friends who were telling me they were like crying watching this episode, that there was stuff that was deeply affecting to them. And I'm watching it like kind of stone-faced because the characters, like, their dialogue when they're talking about it, I just am not feeling it. Like, it's one of those things where, you know, you're talking about how, I don't know, I just said that, like, the ending of The Mist didn't, like, affect me, and, like, I almost found it darkly funny because I was like, wow, you're really trying hard for Grimdark here. Here, I just sort of felt disconnected because of the characters. I feel almost like they're just there to deliver the dialogue, and that they don't feel like quite like real people to me. Now sometimes I like stylized stuff, you know, whether it's like the Coen Brothers movies or David Mamet movies and stuff like that. So I'm not like wanting to write this off fully. But I did. I felt actually like very sad that this episode that so many of my friends liked, and I'm just like, eh.
I'm also sad that
I like what I like the ideas of some of it, but I just didn't. The execution didn't do much for me. So
this was one that was co-written by Tawny Newsome, by the way. This episode, and the one thing I really liked about Lower Decks, which I know you fell off of a lot. I really thought the best thing with Lower Decks was they were basically using all the Buffalo. They clearly had loved every iteration of Star Trek, from the novels to the animated series to the shows. They brought in all kinds of stuff. And that, I think, is what Tawny Newsome and that is maybe bringing here. Yeah. And so Deep Space Nine gets disregarded a lot of the time.
I will say, by the way, the lore
which is
that
wild,
comes
because
out...
I've heard that it is like
it is a fan favorite, but I believe it's so unlike the rest of Star Trek.
You know, you were saying that like Star Trek is about exploration.
Yeah.
And I was like, it originally was, but I do think it's best to like allow Star Trek to be other things too.
Agreed.
And like Deep Space Nine was a complex political drama that was set on the border of this like super volatile. It'd be like between Israel and Palestine.
Yeah,
right?
But it was kind of that area,
or Russia and Ukraine or whatever.
They didn't do a lot of exploring.
No, they didn't. But it was like super well written. It still, I think, had it asked difficult questions about like, you know, like, is it easier for Starfleet to be moral because essentially there's no scarcity of goods there? Like, when everybody is fed and clothed, things are fine. But like Sisko or one of the other characters, maybe it was Garrick, on that show said, like, I think you'll find that those kind of social niceties fall away as soon as you are not able to eat or something like that. Yeah. And so, like, Deep Space Nine is a good example of that, and I think they should be, like, allowed to try things that aren't just a starship finding a new planet each week, because that's also boring.
Yep.
But yeah, like, I did, like, quite like the episode with the Klingon stuff in it, and there's a lot of things that are going on in it that I like, so I may end up going back and reassessing this. I'm going to have to think about it.
It's not off the rails like Strange New...
No, Strange New Worlds lost us both.
Even Strange New Worlds, I'm planning to go back and watch the rest of the season at some point. I kind of lost my enthusiasm because they were doing weird stuff like trying to make Spock, like, give him his third relationship of the show. I'm like, whoa, like, we know he was supposed to have had, like, some sort of thing with Nurse Chapel. We know he has a betrothed person. Those both make sense. Yeah. Having him, like, break up with one of them and immediately get into another relationship just feels like, they just think it's good comedy material.
Kind of like writing.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, they were doing it in a bunch of sort of hacky centrist stuff.
Starfleet Academy, in addition to having a lot of characters, we haven't even talked about all the characters, but they also have Jet Reno is there as she's Tig Notaro's character. Yep. She's in there as a kind of...
She's the dryly humorous... what did she actually teach?
She's engineering.
Yeah, she's engineering. Yeah. And then...
Stephen Colbert voices
He's the voice of the Starfleet Academy's Digital Dean of Students.
Yeah. Cool. So you will kind of regularly, as kind of little tongue-in-cheek, hear him in the background saying, like, hey, so-and-so, your tribbles have escaped into the ventilation system, and you need to speak with the Dean immediately.
That's a cool thing for Stephen Colbert.
It's a fun bit.
The other one, though, is Laura Thok. She's the cadet master and first officer.
Oh, yeah.
And she is part Klingon, part Jem'Hadar, and Jet Reno's girlfriend.
Okay.
Yep. She is a drill sergeant-ish type character, but who's, like, a little bit more nuanced. When she talks to Holly Hunter and they have, like, hey, we need to... The kids are having this kind of problem or that kind of problem. Can we figure it out and help them out? And she shows that she's a little bit more nuanced, but she is a little bit like... hey, you lazy butts, drop and give me 50. Like, she is that person.
I really like that character, and she could easily have been just a cliche or a dumb character, and I thought they did a really good job with it.
I also like, I think as a side one, I think the sort of romantic interest for Caleb,
yes,
Tarima, I think is her name.
Yeah.
She's a Betazoid who, actually over feels like emotions and has an implant to kind of regulate that, which I thought was kind of an interesting, like, sort of neurodivergence within Betazoids.
Yeah.
And they have a kind of on-again, off-again thing. I like her. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to recommend in it.
And then there's Paul Giamatti.
He is only in the first two episodes.
Yes. Oh, is that it?
I don't know that he'll be back. He might be back, but that might have been it just to set it up.
You know, there's clearly more to come from him.
Okay.
He knows some secrets about Caleb's mom.
Yeah.
He was the one who actually, like, killed the Starfleet officer. She was just kind of, like, there or
like
associated with him.
Tellurite.
He's a Klingon Tellurite. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of hybrids in this because we are 800 years more in the future or something like that.
There's a lot of blending going on.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
So yeah, I really love this show. I was wanting to not enjoy it just because I don't want to give any money to Paramount. But it's become one of my favorite shows to watch each week. Like, I wait for those new episodes to show up. So I definitely recommend it. All right, let's talk about Dungeon Crawler Carl.
I laugh.
Dungeon Crawler or Dungeon Crawl?
Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Okay.
I laugh because I finally heard about this a long time ago from my brother-in-law. He was like, read the first book, recommended it highly.
Not too long ago, because it was like, 2011 or something was like the first book?
No, it's like 2019 or 2020.
That's right. The guy's been prolific.
He's been super prolific.
I was trying to see when the first one was. So it was originally published in 2020.
Yeah. It wasn't super long ago, but I feel like it's hit this crescendo, and I know if you look at our face...
We heard our customers buzzing about it. We were behind the curve.
We accidentally ordered it, and then we started selling it.
Yeah, and then it was kind of like I started to hear things. Serena Tank kind of pushed it, and
the partner of one of
our staffers, and he was like, "This is one of the you guys listened to it audiobook style, or he did."
I did too. He loaned it to me.
I have kind of fallen down the rabbit hole. I have actually bought some merch because I have been deeply entertained and affected by the storyline.
It seems like, from what y'all have kind of told me, it's kind of combination of like a larger than life sci-fi dystopian future, but with like video game elements some compelling characters.
This is very easy to explain.
Yeah.
The concept is very simple. Basically, Carl. It opens with Carl, his ex-girlfriend's cat, because his girlfriend is off with some other dude.
And Princess Donut.
Princess Donut like jumps out of the window, and he jumps out after her because he's like, I can't lose my girlfriend's cat.
Right.
And the entire world flattens.
Yep.
Every building, everyone who is inside dies.
Or anybody that is under a awning or surface.
Right. Anyone who is not out in the open on Earth dies.
Yes.
Immediately.
And sounds like the darkest book of all time.
And then he gets an announcement from like an alien voice that tells him that basically they have become part of a reality show for the intergalactic audience called the Dungeon Crawler World.
Yep.
Which different corporations do. They do this every cycle or whatever.
Each cycle is sponsored by a different corporation.
So
like
the Alien
Corporation
the Alien Borant Corporation. So they've created an 18-level dungeon crawl, which borrows ideas from tabletop RPGs and video games. You'll see some very familiar things.
Yep.
And everyone gets the choice. You can either stay on the surface and take your chances, which is probably going to be you're going to die, or you can go in the dungeon.
Yep.
So Carl goes down in the dungeon. His Princess Donut gets a loot box that gives her a potion that evolves her into like a super charismatic and super intelligent talking cat.
Yeah. It's an enhanced pet
who can throw magic missiles.
Let me quick ask a question here. This is a basic premise one. Do the aliens base the dungeon in like Earth lore?
Yes.
Because they like Earth lore, or is it like they do it on different planets?
It's based on whatever the
It's based on whatever world. So basically, what they're doing is they are strip mining the world of all of its resources.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the dungeon crawl is like a side effect of all of this. When they destroy a world, the dungeon crawl is what they do with all the population.
But it's
and
also
it makes a money making.
I was going to say it's a way to make money.
It's a money making reality show across galaxies.
So they're massive space capitalists.
Where the remaining human population basically gets dwindled down after each level.
Yeah.
Because more and more people are dying.
I am led to understand that this is fun despite the mass death.
So what is interesting is it does not shy away from Carl thinking about. He's like, yeah, probably everyone I ever knew is dead.
Yeah.
Like they don't shy away from the horror of it, but they also manage to have a ton of fun with it.
Yeah, it's that interesting mixture of really affecting kind of like drama, but he kind of has to sort of like, this is his life now.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have, his other choice is to sit down and die.
Yeah.
Is he like a particularly good dungeon crawl person?
So he is an ex-Coast Guard guy. So he's in good shape, and he's kind of got like street smarts.
He's not the
and he
brightest,
played a lot of video games.
Yeah, he's a gamer. He's not the brightest bulb, but his ability to sort of work on the fly is kind of what saves him the most, because he can kind of analyze stuff and do stuff without thinking on it too much, and his gut is good. And then Princess Donut is
wildly intelligent,
but
she's a cat.
She's a cat, and if you can imagine a cat given sentience and
well, I mean, the first thing she does is change the name of the party.
Yeah,
because before Carl even knows what's going on, all of a sudden she's Princess Donut, and this group name is Princess Donut's Royal Court, and his name is Princess Donut's bodyguard Carl, and that is just fixed forever.
Yeah, because she's smarter than him and basically can take over the game in a lot of ways.
That's pretty good.
There's also a bit they develop in like this later in the second floor early on. They can chat with each other, kind of like video, like text chat in their heads. And Donut always texts in all caps.
Yep.
Which is in the audiobook is hilarious because they have her louder than everyone else.
And, yes. Louder and more kind of like just kind of
echoey
like
or something?
No, it's just the way it's kind of monotone.
Yeah.
In a way she's like, Carl, we will have to do this.
Yeah, they really give you a good sense in the audio of how annoying it would be to have a cat all caps texting in your head.
Yeah.
It is 7 books in.
Yep.
I'm on the 7th book.
I just finished the second one.
Without like I don't think this is a big spoiler thing, but there's like some sort of resistance does organize at some point.
I'm starting to see glimpses of it at this point.
Yeah.
So
there is like this kind of bigger narrative about the alien takeover of the world and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Born Corporation, and they get into things. There's an orcish skull empire, and there are other corporations, and there's definitely some intergalactic politics going on that they see just the barest glimpse of. But I get the sense we're going to see more of that as it goes on.
Well, and you're basically trying to learn as much as you can while you're in this dungeon, but you're kind of like you only get glimpses,
right?
Because you're mainly focusing on
surviving,
leveling up, getting cool shit.
What happens if you level up? What does that mean?
You get abilities. You get to add. On the third level,
you do become more than human.
Yes. On the third level, you choose your race and class,
and you can actually change your.
And there's a dude who
wrestles with that.
He does. There's a dude who becomes a crocodile head with a shotgun.
Florin. He's about to get a comic book.
Yeah,
that's the character that is getting his own book.
There's a woman who becomes like an Amazon. Carl becomes something that is sort of more human than human.
So there's like a little bit of wish fulfillment in here, but there's like kind of consequences and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Somebody, Nick, maybe it was you who said that you kind of felt that it was like there's a little bit of like Ready Player One, but like a kind of, but like that it worked better for you.
Ready Player One is such a, and I know people like nostalgia. Ready Player One. It is so just nostalgia. Right. This has pop culture references and that kind of thing, but it is in service of a larger story with more world building.
Well, and also no shade at Ready Player One, man. Matt Denneman, who writes these books, is a better writer.
Yeah, I'll throw shade.
He's a better writer. He throws so much.
You liked Ready Player One as a book.
I liked it okay,
but. There's just something about this that just resonates. It has more heart. It has more. Yeah. The characters are really good.
Yeah.
You also it was it is a kind of a good book to also like escape with though in a little bit in our difficult times.
Yeah. And as it goes further on, I think more things will resonate as kind of important things to think about during these times.
Yeah.
It's helped me.
Yeah.
And then the newest book, book 8, hits May 10th.
Yeah.
And this guy...
We have some of the books. We have the softcover of Volume 1 and a couple of volumes that are available right now.
Yeah. But I highly recommend it. We also have enamel pins, which I've dived into and gotten a couple.
A few of our customers who are fans of the series have been picking those up. And there's like certain ones they're very excited about, it seems like. And I don't know what they're talking about, but I can tell they're into it.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple ones that I would like, because the AI that runs this game, and that's a big part of this. Because the AI is sometimes owned by whatever corporation is running the thing,
right.
But it's gaining sentience and kind of enacting its own little ideas into the game.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is that he has a fetish for Carl's feet.
He has a fetish for Carl's feet. And that affects the treasure that Carl gets.
Yep.
And
because the AI depicts
the AI wants to keep him alive, but also it wants to see his feet.
And if Carl stops killing things with his feet, he does not like it.
He doesn't get as much experience. That is one of the many goofy kind of funny things.
And there's goofy things.
Is it a little bit Douglas Adamsy, or is that like a different energy?
I can see that argument though.
I know hearing that it sounds goofy, but it's also done in such a way that it's just a character affectation that kind of leads to something else.
I laugh at this book a lot when I'm listening to it.
I have laughed. I have actually cried because there are some really tremendous character moments coming up that you have not gotten to.
Yeah. The first 2 books is mostly, there's, like I say, there's darkness to it, but it's a lot of fun and then a lot of world building. So.
Well, as you get it further into it becomes more of an ensemble. There's more characters that show up that play a bigger role.
But really highly recommended.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying this. And there's Vault Comics, their free comic book day offering is going to be Dungeon Crawler Carl, so it is starting to break really big, I think.
It is. I was on my Facebook feed today, and apparently Katie Cook, who is a really talented artist, she did a commission of a character that she loves from Carl, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
More of this, please.
Renegade is doing a Dungeon Crawler Carl role-playing game.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
You know what they call him if he was on Walking Dead? Dungeon Crawler Coral.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna kick Nick out so we can talk about Wonder Man.
Yep.
Okay. So we were holding off on talking about Wonder Man because we were waiting for Nick, but Nick is behind, which is weird to have Dave have completely finished a TV show that Nick's not hadn't watched an episode of.
Yeah. Hurry up and catch up, Nick.
Crazy. But Dave has finished all of Wonder Man. I have finished all of Wonder Man. We're gonna talk about Wonder Man, and that means we're gonna spoil Wonder Man.
Yep.
So, if you've not seen it, probably go watch it.
I think we're going to recommend it in general.
Oh, yeah. I really liked it. So, my general takeaway, and we talked about this a little bit last time, I think, is that I really thought this was a good show, but it didn't feel 100% like Wonder Man. It was a complete reinvention of the character.
Right. Well, I'm not going to say not quite a complete reinvention, because it still, had what I consider... The things that interest me about Wonder Man when I was a kid... Mm-hmm. were sort of like him being sort of like a reluctant hero and the kind of weird I want to be an actor thing was just becoming a thing right as I was starting to read.
Right. And they did put both strongly what this is.
But he wasn't like... He was like a guy who kind of was like a wealthy industrialist who had he had an arcane backstory going back to the 60s.
Yes.
Where he had been tricked into getting powers by the Masters of Evil, and he had attacked the Avengers, but sacrificed himself to try and save them when he realized what he was doing. And then he became this energy being, and then he became the reluctant kind of hero.
And I will say, I don't think we needed that. I really like the comic version of Wonder Man.
Yeah, it's an interesting, weird story.
But I know that would not have worked in the MCU, and so I got no problem with reinventing it in this way.
But they did, like, their goals were different in this, because in the comics, no matter what, he's still kind of an adventurer, right?
Yeah.
He's either with the Beast, or hanging out with the Avengers, or whatever. Sometimes he's solo. And but he's still kind of getting in fights and adventures and fighting bad guys.
Yep.
Whereas the show is like kind of like in the same way WandaVision was like a big high concept thing that was like for like almost half of its run like about sitcoms, like a mystery seen through sitcoms. This is about an aspiring actor who is kind of his own worst enemy and who doesn't have a lot of friends and kind of ends up being a little bit shitty to people because he doesn't feel like he's kind of made it. So in that sense, he does, like, reflect Simon, but it's just, like, when I saw the trailers for this, I was like, I don't think I really want to see an inside Hollywood thing. Like, Hollywood always wants to talk about, like, oh, what a crazy world it is. And, that's true. It actually is a wild and interesting world. But sometimes, those guys just feel like they're up their own butts.
Yes.
And, but then... something about the writing or whatever won me over by the second episode. I guess I'd say I was on board.
Yep. I mean, here's the thing. I think the key of this show, the heart of this show, is the chemistry between Yahya Abdul-Mateen's Simon Williams and Ben Kingsley's Trevor Slattery.
100%.
And they are a great buddy duo.
Yeah, and I think let's go ahead and just say they're like revealed at the end of the first episode is that so. Simon Williams, what's the name of the actor? How do you say it?
Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen?
Yeah.
He is, like we said, he's kind of his own worst enemy. He's kind of a guy who's done, like, he's, like, done some theater and done some TV shows, and he gets small roles with, like, a few lines.
Yeah.
But he hasn't broken out, and he's kind of jealous of other people, but he's also a guy who's kind of almost a little too self-serious, and he wants to be, like, a deep actor. And he ends up arguing with directors and getting them pissed at him because he's like, oh, my character wouldn't say this.
Yes.
And they're like, bro, you got 2 lines.
And what's funny is
he gets fired.
Trevor Slattery was like a crazy method actor, but he had a whole drug-fueled hookers.
If you remember Iron Man 3, he was the voice of the Mandarin, the actor portraying him.
It culminated him basically becoming a terrorist and going to prison.
Yes.
And so now he has a little bit of that... He'll talk about his crazy wild days and that kind of thing, but also he does take the craft seriously.
He does,
but he knows
there's a little bit of actual Ben Kingsley Shakespearean actor.
But he also knows that that's not all there is because he's been to prison and all this other stuff.
He actually seems to kind of enjoy life and want to live it.
Yeah,
and
he's a bit of a hedonist.
Yeah, and Simon Williams is kind of never quite able to enjoy it. And he also breaks up with his girlfriend, or she leaves him in the first episode. And understandably so. Like, you can see why most people kind of don't like him.
His brother really doesn't like him.
Yeah, and his brother is kind of like the successful one in the family. Yep. But anyway, at the end of the first, or during the course of the first episode, he ends up going to, like, one of the things that gave him some joy when he was a kid was this kind of cheesy Buck Rogers-ish show in the 70s called Wonder Man, or a movie that his dad took him to.
Yep.
And they find out that this art house director, like the equivalent of, who's the guy they always do spoof as a director?
David Lynch? No,
but like just say Lynch. Is doing a reinvention of Wonder Man that is meant to be a little bit more substantial.
Yeah,
and he goes and auditions, and at the audition he ends up running into Ben Kingsley's character Trevor, who was also the Mandarin.
Yep.
And they sort of hit it off. Well,
and also Trevor is trying to be in Wonder Man
He's auditioning as
the other main character, basically.
And then later they also run into each other, seemingly by coincidence, in a movie theater, seeing the 70s breakout movie kind of Midnight Cowboy.
Yep.
And they end up talking about movies, and they kind of bond. Well, in the final scene in the first episode, you see Trevor take a phone call, and it's from damage control, the sort of evolution you said of Randy of sort of a shield.
Yeah, basically they're the ones who
they manage superpowered
superpowered people. They're a little fascistic.
They're a little fascistic, and it seems like they're having big budget cuts, and if they don't justify their existence by bringing in some more dangerous superpowered people...
Well, it's worse than that. They need to fill up a private prison.
Oh, that's right. Like, it's super bad.
It's skeevy. Basically, they're gonna cut personnel, but this guy who we saw in, I believe...
Oh, have we seen
Spider-Man 3?
Oh, I didn't know
he's in Spider-Man, because Damage Control is in there, too.
Yeah?
I think it's Spider-Man. It's one of the Marvel
movies. They go to Trevor, and we see we'll eventually see in flashback that they were like, "Hey, bro, we're going to send you right back to prison because you kind of got out on a sort of technicality sort of thing, and you never finished your sentence for associating with terrorists, even though you aren't a terrorist. But they're like, we're going to send you right back unless you help us sort of entrap this guy.
Yeah,
they're like, we know he's hiding some secret about powers, and that's true, and you are going to kind of insert yourself into his life and find out what they are, and we will reel him in.
Yeah,
and what's funny, and it's the beating heart of the show, is that as they spend some time together and they work on projects and get to know each other, Trevor in a way is becoming his only real friend right now. Even as we know that Trevor is essentially setting him up to betray him.
Yeah,
and they. The show kind of moves along at its own relaxed pace.
Yeah.
It's got like a kind of cool and quirky soundtrack of like old and new music.
The choice to make Simon Haitian, I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
So they go back to when they
there's an episode. Point, Trevor tags along. He not coerces, but he talks himself into hanging out at a family party for Simon's mom.
Simon's mom's birthday party.
Yep.
So it's like surrounded by that Haitian culture.
Yep.
And his brother who's more successful. His mom who adores Simon as well. Yeah. And does not have the same thing the brother does. Like, he gets to see a little more of Simon's life, and we see a little more of Simon's life.
Yeah, we do find out that his powers kind of exerted themselves at some point when he was younger in such a way that, like, kind of scared the family.
Yeah.
There was a fire and stuff like that.
And so he's been hiding them since he... So, is he a mutant? Is that the vibe you got?
Oh, I hadn't thought about it.
Because I don't think I think it's an interesting choice. Because I don't think they give him an origin for his powers.
I think you're right.
I think he's a mutant.
Yeah, that would make some sense, actually.
Which I think is kind of cool.
Well, if they ever want to associate him with Beast, who in the comics is like his best buddy, that'd be an easy way to get it rolling. It's
a nice tweak if they do it, and I think that makes sense.
Yeah. And plus, he's kind of got an on-the-run element eventually.
Yeah.
But let's see. So there's stuff like that. There's an episode that is devoted in which neither he nor Trevor appears almost at all.
Yep.
And it has more to do with why is he so much in hiding? At some point somebody mentions the sort of the doorman act.
The doorman,
like a clause that you have to sign when you're auditioning. And it turns out, like, basically it restricts people who have superpowers from auditioning.
In the MCU, you cannot be an actor with superpowers, it seems like.
Yep. And it was just, like, kind of dropped casually into a conversation in, like, the first or second episode.
Yep.
They don't really say anything about it. But in the third episode, wildly, we find they use the obscure Great Lakes Avenger character Doorman.
Yep.
Who turns out...
It's the fourth episode.
Fourth episode. And you find out his story, and he is like this actual genial guy who is a literal doorman at like a club.
Yep.
But who ends up...
touches some Roxxon trash.
Yeah, Roxxon, the sleazy oil company.
Yep. I love that Roxxon is a thing in the MCU.
Yeah, it was great. And he gets this weird power that's a little bit like Cloak from Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, basically he can turn his body into a door and people can pass through it.
Not like a doorway, like it looks like a door, but more like a shadowy thing. Yeah. You can put your hand through him and you'll end up somewhere else.
And you go through him to the other side. That's why he's a doorman.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Unless you're Josh Gad and you fall a fit. But, so he's buddies with Josh Gad.
Yeah,
from
there are multiple guest stars, like 3 or 4 guest stars from actual real actors in this.
Yep.
And they are all used well.
Yep.
Joe Pantoliano gets an amazing role in like the first or second episode.
Yep. And then they call back at the very end.
There's a great callback at the end, which even in here, I won't quite spoil it.
It's great. But the Doorman episode is a really strong standalone episode about a character who basically gets superpowers, goes to be a movie star that he never wanted, but he just kind of enjoys the life.
Right.
And I like that they don't have him become like a big arrogant jerk or anything like that, or turn his back on his people. He got big and famous, and it's a little more than he can take.
Yep.
And As a result, Josh Gad gets trapped in some other dimension.
Yeah. So hilariously, Josh Gad in the Marvel Universe has been lost to Doorman, leading to it was a big pop culture thing, and led to this basically actors being outlawed who are have powers.
You can't use superpowers as an actor in your movies because you might send Josh Gad to an alternate dimension.
Such a good, random, weird episode, but typical of it. Later on, there are episodes that show the audition process with this weird art house director.
Yep. Super fun.
Werner Herzog is who I was trying to think
Herzog,
of.
yeah. The guy who plays that director, by the way, is the guy who played the dictator in the Superman movie.
Yeah, you'll know his white crazy hair immediately.
Yeah.
And he does a very good job.
He's great.
It's interesting because there's a sort of a genial quality to most of this series where, he's a little over the top, he's a little up his own butt, but he's also kind of real.
Yeah.
And he's nice.
Yeah.
Like, he's not like a complete asshole or anything like that. And like he has the actors come out to his mansion, and he does kind of give them some breathing room to like try and find the role as he does. He creates these improv situations for them. But yeah, overall, this is and throughout the whole thing, Simon is a guy who really kind of struggles to. He's used to covering up his past and his powers. He does feel like he's the black sheep of the family, right?
Yep.
Even though his mom loves him. What was it? In that episode where they go back to the family, you find out like what he had like forgotten to get a present for his mom.
Yeah.
And it feels like he's a person who's kind of not happy with his own life, and so that's led him to kind of fracture his relationships with other people. And there's a sort of realness to that.
Yeah.
I thought it was for a show that's only a half-hour show.
Yep.
And it walks the line between drama and comedy.
It's a quick watch.
That it actually has. It's got some real to it, and I thought it was kind of a bold thing to have a character who's a little unlikable.
Yeah.
It's clear that when he's around Ben Kingsley, when he's around Trevor, he kind of becomes a better person.
Yeah.
Which leads him to panic in the episode where there's like a writer from like the equivalent of like Vanity Fair or the New Yorker, who's like a kind of an acid-tongued critic. But like if she likes you, it could be really big for your career. If she doesn't like you, you might end up really chewed up. And he finds out that he cannot interview at the same time. He wants to interview as like a buddy, like me and my pal Trevor.
Yeah.
And he can't, and so he kind of has to stand on his own. And he's like trying to fake that he's like closer to like the craft services.
It's cringy a little bit,
and it is painful to watch him try and do that. Because, the truth is he does not bond well with people.
Yeah.
But there's also another twist to be had in that episode.
Yeah.
Because, we're just talking spoilers. Essentially, Ben Kingsley is super charming, and so Trevor is, like, winning her over seemingly. And then she's like, now how about the terrorist stuff you did? You never finished that, your sentence, right? And, like, then ends up being the one who's like, this interview is over.
Yeah, yeah.
So they do some nice twists and turns. Like, I didn't know... The show kind of builds to a question of whether their fracturing friendship can survive this stuff as truths start to come out. And will he get the role? Will their friendship survive? These are the big questions of the show.
And the final episode, I thought, did a really good job of what does this mean for him and his friendship? You're almost not sure what he's doing at first because he's been Wonder Man and now he seems to be doing this weird role where he's like trying to shadow this blue collar guy just to live this life. And when you see what the blue collar guy does for a living, which I won't give away,
right?
You realize what's going on.
I loved how they filmed that. This show is kind of ambitious, and like I know it probably won't hit with everyone. Like Randy, in the same way that like WandaVision, kind of you were like, okay, enough with the sitcom stuff. Mm-hmm. I think some people may feel that about this. There is, by the way, an action sequence once or twice in the show, including some guys who try to jump him in an alley and stuff like that. Yeah. But I appreciate that it kind of did things a bit different, and in that final episode, there's a portion where I'm like, I cannot quite piece together what's happening. Yeah. And when it does start to come together, it's very satisfying. Yeah. I think.
I'm really annoyed with the way that Disney has, and also that the fans, for the way that the MCU has shaped, because. I understand that people are disappointed in the movies, and I get that they've been weaker, but the shows I think have all been really good. Yeah, but they've not been successful enough. Right, and so we're not going to get more Moon Knight. We probably won't get a second season of Wonder Man, despite the fact the critical ratings were really, really strong. Yeah. We're probably not going to see any more She-Hulk. We're probably not going to see more Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, I would have loved Marvel to have continued on this direction of, like, a couple shows a year.
Yeah.
But the narrative became so overwhelming that people were tired of the MCU and didn't want as much, that as a result, we get less movies and less TV. And I think it's a shame, because I think we're going to get less of these stories, because these people are going to age out. Whereas in comics, if I like Wonder Man, I mean, there'll be a new miniseries at some point. Someone whose favorite character is Wonder Man.
You can even wait a decade or two, and you'll get to it.
You can't do that with this. And that's what's going to happen like Young Avengers. So I'm like, man, they're setting up a great Young Avengers. By the time they get to it, they're all going to be in their 40s.
Right.
And so I'm a little bummed at the overall cultural surroundings that have resulted in this. Be like, man, this is a really good show. I like a lot. Right. And I feel like it's going to become kind of a forgotten gem.
In like a better time, a better world, this could still lead into, like, even though it is not an action-adventure show, his character could slot into an X-Men story.
You could lead this into a West Coast Avengers show or something, like. But they're not going to do that. They're not thinking as ambitiously as they once were, and I think it's a shame.
But the weird thing is, like, this show is ambitious.
This show's ambitious, but I think this feels like the tail end of something they had developed before things changed.
Right.
I don't know that. It feels like this and Ironheart. I mean, they put it all out on one day. Like, they didn't string it out. They just like, here's all of it.
Right.
And that feels like burning it off.
Right.
And it's kind of a shame, because this is a show that deserved to build an audience, to get that word of mouth that was going on. And I feel like a lot of people don't even know it happened.
But I'll say this, as its own thing, people should watch it.
People should absolutely watch it. It's a really good show.
And it's like a brisk watch. It's fun, it's different, and it's got some heart to it. It's got a lot of heart.
Yeah, really, really good show. I enjoyed this a lot. I don't know when or if we'll see more of Wonder Man and Jarvis Slattery, but I hope we do.
Yeah, you should watch it and give them a little bit more reason to do that.
Exactly. All right, that'll wrap it up for us this time. We'll be back next week with more. Until that time, yo Joe.
Roguecast is a weekly podcast broadcast from Rogues Gallery Comics and Games in Round Rock, Texas. You can find us online on Facebook and at www.roguesgallerytx.com, and email us comments or questions at roguesgallerytx@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.